show us a demonstration.
Because you can't demonstrate it.
I'm just trying to understand why you disagree, because it's based on
Scott,
pure
it's
logic.
easy.
Because you can't demonstrate it. Near zero isn't zero. Hold on, I'm answering you. Near zero isn't zero, and you still require a container unless you can demonstrate that you don't need one. Because every time you have any substance, it's going to what? Evaporate anyway.
No, it's not. The gas is already evaporated. It's already in a gaseous form. So I'll answer what your point is. So you're right. Zero is next to zero is not zero.
No, I'm talking about in a gradient.
Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. Next to zero is not zero. Okay, I agree with you. And that means that there's always going to be some escape of these molecules at the very high end. Because if you get to say very close,
see, this is what I disagree with right there.
Hold on, I'm not done yet, dude. I'm waiting for you to finish. You're going to get very close to zero, but you still have some pressure. Some pressure is still existing. And that causes some molecules to actually escape the Earth's atmosphere. And guess what? We know that actually happens. We lose molecules to space. Not very many. The rate is very low. And the reason for that is because the pressure is very low. So that's why you don't need the container. Yes, you do lose some, but you lose so little because of the gradient.
No, I would disagree.
Yes.
No, I would disagree.
Why though? I don't understand. It's so logical.
Because you're talking about like some would escape. What do you mean by some would escape? Whatever molecules are next to that, they would all escape.
At a rate, right? And the rate is low. The rate
so
is
explain us
why would hold on. You're saying the rate is low. No, it's actually that there are less molecules. That's not that doesn't mean that the molecules are moving slower and some escape.
No, the rate of escape. The rate of escape.
Yeah, because they
hold on. I'm responding to what you said. The rate of escape you can measure as number of molecules over time. And that rate is very low. So it's not very many that escape, but they do escape. Like something like a few thousand a day.
a few thousand molecules?
I think it's called genes escape. It's called genes escape.
Yeah, but I mean, who's counting, right?
Or something.
A few thousand molecules?
It's 3 kilograms. It's 3 kilograms.
Do you know how many tons of so-called molecules escape your fantasy globe every day?
I think it's something like
that.
And
can you verify that, please?
Look it up on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
look it up.
Can you replicate that and verify that, please?
Guys, stop triggering.
Yeah, that's what
it's called genes escape.
Hell no, he
it's
can't.
It's called genes escape.
It's being recorded somewhere,
it's
please.
called Guys, will you just relax for a second? It's called genes escape. You can look it up on Wikipedia.
It's called a theory that you bought.
Hey, Rakia, stop interrupting.
Yeah, we're tired of hearing your bullshit.
Guys.
Yo, so remember.
Fantasy world.
No, wait, Rakia, hold on. Wait, Rakia.
If the fact that you don't understand is not my fault,
we're gonna
the facts.
We're gonna look up what you're saying.
No,
hold on, Rakia, hold on. We're gonna look up this James escape or whatever it is. But first, genes escape. Sorry, but let's point out that I said pressure is proportional to temperature, and curved. And all the idiots said no, it's not.
It is.
But that's what I provided a citation for. Can we move on or not? From there?
Wait, what did that line Buck just say?
That's not what you said. That's not what we responded.
I did not say that, Elijah.
I said pressure is proportional to temperature. You said no, it's not.
Mate. That's fucked up.
So wait a minute.
Only proportional to temperature.
It's not.
Yeah, what you posted.
It's not only proportional to temperature.
Yeah, what you posted directly to what you said, not some bullshit you thought we said. What you posted was a link that described ideal gases, like what gases would do in a closed system.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's not describing what happens actually with the elevation of the atmosphere. Like the atmosphere, they don't move in a linear relationship with each other, as Bazar showed with that picture. The temperatures and the pressures don't move at the same rate. They don't follow the same rate in the atmosphere. And yeah, because your link was describing.
Well, you have to remember, everything acts differently in their fantasy world.
It's not a fantasy.
It is a dynamic system. You have the sun circling or doing whatever it's doing overhead. So
you're exactly right. Dynamic, complex system. It's very different than the closed container that thing was describing.
No, it's a dynamic system within a closed environment. With energy being input. You can't have
Well,
that.
that makes it
You can't
on.
have that without the container. And I said, let's get in some type of example of this. There is none, obviously.
There's plenty of examples of this. There's plenty of examples of this.
There's not,
Anytime you see,
Scott.
yes, I'll tell you what they are. Anytime you see a heavier than air gas like that you can see colored, and you see that it's sort of hanging out at the bottom of some open topped container, that open top is not doing any work. I mean, it's not, it doesn't need a top. Why does it not need a top? Because it's heavier than air. It's denser at the bottom than it is at the top.
How about the sides?
It needs a
the sides it needs, but it doesn't need the top. And that's the thing about the Earth is we do need the sides. We have the side of itself is a sphere, but we don't need the top because gravity.
Scott, you're spiraling.
No,
You
shut
don't
up.
have the
Shut up.
sides.
Shut up.
You don't
Shut
have
up.
sides.
Shut up and let
The fact that you
us.
don't
I need
understand
this
is of
clip.
no interest in it, see?
Hey,
I mean, Elijah has a chance to understand it.
it was
You
an
are clearly
astronomer
not
who,
gonna get it.
who saw the particles leave into space. I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Scott, explain to us again how we don't need the sides. Elijah
I
needs
said
a
the
clip.
side. I said you need the sides, but the top you don't need.
Why don't we need the top?
Heavier than air. And the example I was giving, it's a heavier than air
Look at
gas.
the
So
live stream.
it's pooling at the bottom.
The gases that are going up, not held by gravity, are heavier than air. Jesus.
The gases that are going up. What?
Got a
No,
long
that's
way
not
to go.
Rakia, you're so out of the conversation. You don't even know
Yeah,
what we're talking
right.
about, dude. I'm telling
You're
you.
talking
that's not
about
what we're saying.
gases,
That's not-
thousands of them, just a couple thousand escaping. Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Those
just escape every day. I think
continue
how many
going
gases? I
up,
think it's a few.
defying gravity
it's a-
because they're
I think it's
special
a few-
gases.
I think it's a few
Lighter
hundred
than
thousand.
air.
No, there's the same gases that are down below, but the pressure's different.
It's quite a bit, actually.
I think it's the amount that you're being told by your authorities that you look up to and
90
you trust.
tons
fully.
I'm
per
just
year.
trying to remember.
Doesn't
I
make
could very
any
well be
sense,
off
man.
I could be off by an order of
Hold
magnitude
on.
easily. The point is
Yeah,
not
but-
exactly what the number
Yeah, but
is.
who could double check it, right?
hold-
I mean, really, who could
hold-
verify it? Not even you.
Hold on. Hold on. Look.
Tons per year.
Time out.
Okay, there you go.
Okay,
That's fine.
atmospheric
Per day,
escape is
sorry.
the loss.
Okay, yeah.
Atmospheric
Tons.
escape. I'll just read this out if you guys don't mind. Atmospheric escape is the loss of planetary atmospheric gases to outer space. A number of different mechanisms can be responsible for atmospheric escape. These processes can be divided into thermal escape, non-thermal, or superthermal escape, and impact erosion. The relative importance of each loss process depends on the planet's escape velocity, its atmosphere composition, and its distance from its star. Escape occurs when molecular kinetic, this is the important part, right? When it occurs. Escape occurs when the molecular kinetic energy overcomes gravitational energy. So,
Which is escape velocity.
can we
Wow.
start there?
Sure.
So, gravity affects gas.
Yes.
So, it affects entropy, is what you say.
No, it affects gas. Of course, it affects entropy. Everything does, but it affects gas.
Can I have a demonstration of this at least then?
Yeah, me and Babs both. Babs, the flat earther, both did this where we used a scale and poured gas onto the scale, and the scale went up because the gas was on the scale.
I mean, how would it not affect? If gravity didn't affect gas, then there would be no gas.
Or impact.
What?
Is that considered kinetic energy? What you did there, Coach?
Yeah, there was.
No,
that was
in mine, it settled and it stayed in the. I had like a tiny little plastic lid, and I put it all in the lid, and it stayed and it sat there. The
It
plate
stayed there
consistently
for how
stayed
long?
for minutes. Until it was done.
So then entropy did affect it.
So probably
Oh,
needs
so-
to sit on it.
Eventually, right?
No, I'm not sure why you're invoking
Couple
entropy,
minutes.
but
Yeah, it's not clear what your point is. I mean, look, gravity affects everything with mass.
The
Gas
point is
constants
the
mass.
gas is going to fill the space.
So
No,
mass
not
effect,
necessarily.
mass. Let me write that down.
Well, he just said minutes, so at some point the gas did fill the space.
no, it said minutes. That's how it's done.
The space is already filled.
Remember, you said there's a gradient. You agree there's a gradient, which means it's not filling the space.
Duh. But I said you can have a gas pressure gradient within a container, but without, you guys would have to demonstrate that. And you
But we
can't
left
No,
a
point
but-
to
very
the
important part
you can't
here
point to
before
the
we move on.
atmosphere.
Gentlemen,
I
gentlemen,
can.
we
point to
left
one,
a
though.
very
There's plenty of
important
them.
part. How do your gas molecules reach escape velocity, which is 25,000 miles per hour?
They absorb
By
it
what
into the
mechanism?
sun.
collisions. By collisions.
Yeah, it's mostly. Yeah, they get energy from the sun. They hit each other. They bounce off each other, and eventually some of them get going really fast.
And they can reach
So-
25,000 miles an hour.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean a lot. Well, so can your molecules, by the way, if you get in the right car or the right plane.
So you're saying when there's these collisions, these molecules have greater energy and are moving faster. It has nothing to do with the volume at all.
They can
nothing to do with volume.
wait.
Because there is no volume, obviously, because there's no container.
There's volume.
So
There's a volume. The atmosphere has volume.
Got a lot of free room to run around, so they hit each other.
So where are they
So they
bouncing
get
off
energy
in
from the
this
sun, and they
less like
escape
very
Each other.
atmosphere?
They're bouncing
Where are they
off of-
bouncing off?
Each other.
They bounce off of each other.
Oh,
This is not
molecule
hard,
love.
guys. Like-
I love this. Wow.
Why? I don't. The fact you guys just giggle and everything is not really useful. It's like it's
yeah,
it's
because
okay to have a-
because it says
it's okay
kinetic
to have a
energy
debate, but
overcomes.
it's true what
It
we're
says
telling
kinetic energy. Sorry, it says kinetic energy overcomes gravitational energy. But what I mean,
Yes.
there's no proof of gravitation in the first place.
No, there is. There
Well,
is.
there's
Oh,
evidence
for
of it,
hundreds
but
of years.
whatever.
Oh, there is. There is.
Yes.
Okay, well, would it be reasonable to ask for the hypothesis from either Einstein or Newton's paper, the original claimants?
Why don't you just use the fact that things are compelled downward? That's
All I said was is that just too much to ask for. Seeing is that you're saying that gravity exists, and I
It's a
assume that
malformed-
I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished. Then you can tell me it's a malformed question. Like, because there's science for this. The gravity is the cause of things, right? So it must have been scientifically validated by someone, i.e., I'm looking for that validation from the original claimants. Is
Sure.
that
So-
reasonable to ask for?
So
I can
it
do
was
that.
originally in. Okay, go ahead, Brenda. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh well, to be conceived, it's an observed phenomenon.
Yeah.
Also, Scott, your volume is a little bit low, and that's why you're having trouble competing.
I know. There's nothing I can do.
It's an observed. It's an observed phenomenon, Scott. I think you would agree is not me getting the hypothesis from either Einstein or Newton's paper.
Showing why your
But that's why I was calling it a malformed question. Is that asking for a hypothesis is the wrong thing to ask for.
Why?
What Newton did was observe, because what Newton did was observe a phenomena and then write down an idea for what that phenomena can be calculated as. And then it turns out that every time we test that phenomena, that calculation out, it seems to work. If you want something that's like
Test?
hypothesis or something that's going to be more experimental in nature, you're probably starting with Cavendish.
right.
I think it's a totally different subject now. because-
Cavendish measured the phenomenon.
But there is this, let me add this one other thing, which is that if you believe in the laws of motion, the three laws of motion, then gravity follows so perfectly and naturally. It can't be any other way. Because the three laws of motion tell us there's a force that's keeping us here.
I wish I knew enough about
dark
quantum
energy,
mechanics
dark
to say
matter,
that quantum
dark
mechanics
fluid,
debunks
except then.
that. But you know,
Except when?
I don't.
Classical
But I
mechanics.
don't.
Except when?
You'd have to know basic physics first, which flurfers don't know.
Except
Still,
when?
I
Oh,
think-
if I knew
Brenda,
if I
this
knew
is true. I
basic
wouldn't talk
if I
about
knew
you. Let
basic
the adults
physics
speak.
if I knew basic physics, then I would be able to say that quantum mechanics
Well,
debunks.
you would need to
You
know.
don't need to involve quantum
It doesn't
mechanics
really
at
do.
all.
Yeah, you would need to.
Oh,
know.
now everything that's a direct contradiction is like not involved. You need to not know because we're in a
It
need
doesn't
to know
directly
basis.
contradict.
It's not a
it. It doesn't
contradiction.
Don't look here. Nothing to see here. Exactly.
It's not a contradiction. It's just more precise.
So-
The biggest contradiction for me is that if you compare mountains and their distance from the center of the Earth and they're also their gas pressure gradient.
So far away from.
Your irrelevance, go away.
So far away
But
from.
what about it, Crit?
Well, like say Mount Everest is supposedly 1.3 miles closer to the center of mass than this Mount Chimborazo, is what Tyson had
Okay.
said. But Mount Everest has this thing called a death zone, a gas pressure gradient that makes it lethal for people who aren't acclimated to that level of oxygen. But yet
Okay.
on Mount Chimborazo, people don't need oxygen, assisted oxygen to climb that.
Okay. And so what's the difference between the two? Is it some sort of local weather phenomena?
No, it has to do with if the container is gravity or a pulling towards center of mass. Why does Mount Chimborazo have?
That's what I just said, though.
You're setting up a straw man. The pressure gradient is not directly proportional to the gravitational force.
Well, I'm not saying I was setting up any kind of argument. I'm saying for me, the biggest hang-up for me is that if gravity is the container, why is it not the container for mountains?
It is though.
Gravitational attraction is not directly proportional to the pressure difference.
But it is. Although I thought, like, why are you saying? Is that not true? The higher you go in elevation, the less the pressure is, as a direct consequence of a relationship between gravity and compression of molecules.
No, see, there is no.
And we've been to the moon, and we know that the dome is further than that. That's all we need to know now.
But we know that they faked the moon landing, so that
We don't know
That's
that.
what you're assuming.
Well, technically, you guys are getting off topic. You know.
Just
Yeah, so stay on topic.
That's what they do when you have him in a corner.
That's true. You know.
That was Lemon. That was not us.
If I can maybe
they tried to stick me in the corner by saying that pressures and correlated with temperature.
What I told you,
Exactly.
And then but I mean, what do I know?
The fact that you need
you made no
have
response
pressure.
about the pressure gradient telling us that we wouldn't need the top of the container. It is a good point. I don't know why it is that you don't have a response for it, or you don't seem to understand what the implication is. But
I did give you a
it does
response.
tell us that the top of the container is unnecessary.
I got a response too, and that's why I think with Doofus and you have different competing ideas of what is causing the cause and effect. If working out in my mind, I'm thinking a downward bias is the cause, and this is downward bias towards the center of the Earth.
That would
The effect is
That would be the result of the cause.
the effect is a gas pressure gradient.
Okay.
No. Read the chat.
But so what, Crit? I mean, let's say that you were right. I don't think you are. I think gravity is the cause. But let's say you were right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Hold on.
Okay,
hold
go
on.
ahead.
It would still tell us we don't need a container.
I think if you had a snack bar, you would say, "Oh, that's proof we don't have a container."
No, I don't think I would. What I'm saying is logical. It makes sense. I don't know why you can't seem to get it, but if you think about it, you'll see it.
No, if you think about it really hard, you will realize that you cannot have pressure without containment.
Well, if you can have a gradient inside of a container, then how in the world do you need the container for pressure?
Scott, you're an optimist if you think that they'll get it if they just think about it.
I think they can.
I get a paradox. There's infinite containers. Because you have to have a container after the container after the container after the container.
No.
Yes,
How do you have a
do.
pressure? How do you have a pressure gradient without pressure?
What pressure? For the pressure is there. No one's denying the pressure, man. Besides
This
Kimo
is
and-
from Quantum Eraser himself, because I asked him about this very thing. So how do you have a pressure gradient without pressure?
You don't. You have pressure. A pressure gradient is pressure.
Exactly. And how do you have pressure without a container? You know why I'm asking this? Well, just so you know where I'm.
The answer.
Just so you know where I'm coming
You
from.
don't need a container.
Just so you know where I'm coming from, I asked him, so is there a dome?
You
QE,
haven't-
I went to him. Listen to me.
Yeah, you haven't, and he hasn't brought a single citation that says pressure requires a container.
So Scott, pressure causes pressure? Is that what you said before?
No. That's not what I said before. What are you talking about?
Air contains air, then, right?
Oh, the weight. Yeah.
That's a great question.
Pressure is a force.
If you wouldn't overtalk people, you'd actually be able to hear them, and you wouldn't get everything so wrong.
No, I don't think that. I think you're an optimist there.
Oh,
So clarify yourself, Scott. I apologize.
People.
I don't know what you're referring to. What did I say that you thought I said that for? When I said that if you have pressure, there's pressure. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what I was responding to, Essie? Is when Merle said, "Can you have pressure if there's no pressure?" And so I said, "No, Merle. If you have
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, Scott.
I said, how can you have a pressure gradient? Hang on.
I think it would be fun to
asked-
have this I'm sorry. I think it would be fun to have this conversation if you guys would join me over at Nathan's. If you could,
No, fuck that.
Are you kidding,
Yeah,
Elijah? They'll never
I'm just.
come over there.
All I'm saying is I'm
Don't go
here.
there.
We're here. I'm saying I'm here. We're here It'd be nice for you to come over there,
Yeah,
nice.
We get muted
and
right
have
away.
this conversation.
But guys,
I got muted, Scott. I don't know if you knew, but I got muted right away when I got here.
well,
Right away.
Elijah, I asked QE the question, and he came back to me. He said, "Merle, how can you have a pressure gradient without pressure?" And I said, "Are you saying there's a dome?" And he said, "No."
Doesn't matter.
He doesn't know there's a dome, but what he's saying is, if there's a filet mignon on your table, you know there was a cow.
Okay.
There is no filet mignon. There is no
Bro,
filet
that-
mignon.
I mean, it could be
Definition of gas
lab-grown
pressure,
meat.
we don't have. Gas
This
pressure, we
is
have
the example.
It
If
could be
you
a square. We don't.
if you have
we don't know what kind of container.
it's not. It's if you've got
it's very
pressure,
simple.
you know there's a pressure gradient.
Merle, simple. We've already responded to that. There is a pressure gradient, so there is pressure. We've said that. There's pressure. That doesn't mean it has to be a container. I've said they could be due to the weight. The pressure in this case is due just simply to the weight of what's above it. That's a
So
straight
you
up.
have a chicken
The
egg without
necessary
a
anti-
chicken, is what you're saying.
No, the necessary antecedent for hydrostatic pressure is a force.
You made an omelet, but there was no chicken.
Metaphysical. Forces do
No,
not
that's
exist without
metaphysical.
something to act upon. Even that's metaphysical. You're trying to remove the force from the thing that gives the force meaning, namely some sort of container to press against. You're in metaphysics.
You don't need a container for forces.
Meanwhile, we do have evidence of mass attracting mass.
Yeah,
No.
you do.
We
Where?
have
Where is this
for going in and
evidence?
out of objects leading to a general flow. It can also lead to repulsion
No,
depending
none
on
of
how much
that
you
is-
electrify the mass.
Stuff that you made up. That's stuff you made up.
Yeah.
Gravity should have been absorbed into electromagnetism long ago.
Okay. Well, lemon.
Wood and
Let's say
steel
gravity
disagrees with you.
Gravity is electromagnetism. There you go. You don't need a container for gas pressure because you have electromagnetic forces.
You don't even have to
The
say that.
electromagnetic still needs to be given shape with a solid structure, like the firmament or the
You don't need a
ground.
container for electromagnetism.
You don't have to get into gravity, electromagnetism, anything. All you have to do is accept that things have weight. Things are affected. They're being brought downward.
Yeah, they're never going to do that.
It's the weight that's giving these things pressure. That's giving the air pressure.
Yeah,
The
they're
weight
never
given location is
Density and buoyancy solves this problem, doesn't it?
the pressure and given location.
Air is more dense than no air, so it's going to fall down to the earth.
The pressure of any given location is due to the weight of the air above it. And same with the water. Same with everything.
They're never going to accept that, Kosho. Never.
Yeah, but you guys are going into different subjects and thinking that that's going to be a solution somehow. Just describing how gravity.
No, you guys are skirting the question, Kosho.
Solution to this.
The original question was, show us gas pressure without a container next to a vacuum.
Yeah, that's not the claim.
You have a gradient.
That's not even what the globe model says. It's a straw man.
What is a vacuum, SC?
That's your model.
No, it isn't.
There's pressure in space.
That's your
So there's
model.
pressure next
They
to
point
pressure.
out there and they say space and they say
Montreal, you said in your version of events, there's a dome and a vacuum on the outside of the dome.
Is that your way of saying you apologize, Beard?
Dude,
for
I'm
being
not
a liar?
apologizing. Shit. No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Me
so then
not
don't talk to
believing
me.
you is not me being a liar.
We've been through this again. Don't talk to me.
Anybody else can ask that question if you're so inclined to.
I already answered that question many
No,
times.
you
That's
didn't.
why I
You avoided it.
said that you're going to get into infinite containers, because if you say that you need container, then what's after that container? If there's a vacuum or pressure there, that needs to be contained.
No, I said, how
With
can you
another
have an
container.
omelet without a chicken? We were talking about
What's
the
the omelette?
antecedent.
What's the omelette, SE? Atmospheric pressure?
How can you have a chicken egg without a chicken?
I don't have a
What's the
problem with
chicken
that.
egg?
God made the atmosphere. The atmosphere
we
is
were
here,
making. That's
and it works now
Explain
based
that.
upon density or buoyancy. There you go.
What's the chicken egg in this analogy? Gas pressure?
You choose whatever you want. You choose.
All you're doing is
I can choose your analogy.
all you're doing is reasserting the assertion in a poetic way, aren't you? Chicken eggs do require chickens. Gas at atmospheric pressure does not require a container, even if you assert that it does, or even if you change it for an analogy and assert that eggs require chickens. It doesn't make the first thing true.
But it was poetic, right? It was poetic, right?
Well,
It's a shit analogy. Pathetic, maybe.
I think the word you're looking for is idiotic.
You guys are in a corner, man. You guys are in a corner.
It's
You
the
don't
same
want
as
to admit it.
an
You're
Olympic
double
school.
speaking.
So we point out to you that your analogy failed, and your response is to say you guys are in a corner.
Yeah.
I think
Show us.
seems like that's a thing
Show
you
us
say when
containment.
you're in
That's
a
all
corner.
we're asking.
SC.
Show us what your theory is, what your story is. Show it to us, and you win. That's it.
We've shown it to you, and we've told you what it is, and you don't seem to understand.
So Scott, if I bring
Quant-
Quantum Eraser
course.
over here,
He won't
he's
be
not
here.
going to be muted.
He's not going to come over here.
I want to talk over him
I
either.
tell you, we've tried to do this so many times. He won't come though. You'll see.
I'm in DMs with him now.
That's
There's
perfect.
like zero
There's
There's like
SC.
all the Globers muted that won't go well.
SC, what the fuck? Oh yeah, right. With the swimming pool, like a swimming pool doesn't have a lid on it or anything like that, and there's a pressure gradient, and you know what causes the pressure gradient in the swimming pool?
That's gravity. That's the big problem.
The weight of the water. The weight of the water above whatever location in the pool you're talking about.
That's gravity, and they will never admit it because it messes up their belief system. They will never ever admit it, so there's no point.
So you're claiming gravity?
Leave that, Brenda.
I'm not claiming gravity at all. Brenda was bringing that in for some reason. I didn't say.
That's what weight is. It's gravity. They will never admit it, and they
Yes, you've said that, Brenda, at least 4 times. I think probably 6, maybe even 8.
Why try arguing it?
Brenda's an
Well, why are you
people.
here then? Fuck off if you don't like it.
Okay.
Can we
F
say
off,
hydrostatic pressure?
I was trying to get them to.
Hydrostatic pressure.
I was trying to get him to agree with something that I know he knows is true, which is that in a pool.
Yeah.
Come back to the flat Earth, Brenda.
In a swimming pool, the pressure as you go deeper in the pool increases. And the reason for that is because the weight of the water above you creates that pressure. It's pushing. There's more water pushing down on the water at the bottom of the pool, and it works the same way with air. Air works exactly the same way.
Beautiful. Then
You don't need a
us.
container to create the pressure. You just need
Just,
that mechanism.
okay, yeah.
Wait.
Cool story, bro. Now just show it to us. That's all we're asking.
We've shown it to you.
That's all what Elijah
go
was
up in
asking when you're
altitude and the
squirting
pressure
around the
decreases.
story again. as usual. Just show it to us.
Kosho, there's some truth in what you're saying because potentially there could be a column of air pushing down upon the Earth, especially if the Earth's traveling up.
Oh, flat Earth
No,
society.
that's actually not. Because you need to be accelerating up, and if you do that for 9.8 meters per second squared for, I don't know, 3,000 years,
No,
you'd reach
forever.
some quick
Forever.
speeds. Well, we haven't been traveling forever, but
Have you ever stacked laundry before, Merle? Like stacked
I have.
sheets on top of each other?
Yep.
You
The
stack
one
it
on the
high enough.
bottom's going to get pressed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's gonna be more fold, more creases. The ones at the bottom, the ones at the top are gonna have,
It
they're
makes
fine.
perfect sense. That's why I'm with you right now.
Now we
Perfect
know what
sense.
Kosho did in the Navy.
Yeah.
Equate the atmosphere to bed sheets.
But no, but it really is the same. It's the same concept, the exact same concept. That in this case, you don't need a container to pack in all the, air, liquid, whatever, to create the pressure. You simply need this weight of something above it, more air above it, to be creating a higher pressure at the bottom and a lower pressure at the top.
How about on the sides? PSI.
There's another example of where you don't need a container in sense of a physical material where you have a gradient.
Example yet of air pressure
Right?
without a container. So stop saying there's another example. They only
We have
exist
lots of
in
examples.
your
Yeah, it's
mind.
another example.
But can
If you
globe
listen to that, but if you
An
don't, then
aircraft, an aircraft wing is an example of pressure without a
yeah,
container.
exactly. That is
Well,
what I
that's-
wanted to say. But others are obviously not listening to me. They are listening to you, Jim Panda, which is
Sorry.
great.
But
Well, I
can
wasn't
globe
talking.
can globe Earth appreciate if Earth isn't a globe, then flat Earth is met with the predicament of trying to discover what it actually is then? And that's an honest inquiry?
I agree with you. Let's
I
understand
don't
what's going on.
honestly inquire it though. If it was honest, then it would be good.
Here's the logo because I think Mr. Logo.
Merle, what do people in an honest inquiry do?
They have to go through a method of deduction.
Yeah.
Research, maybe.
Yeah.
Science, perhaps.
They also have to be willing to modify their hypothesis when there is contrary evidence, right?
Right.
Yeah, we see none of that from Flat Earth.
I see hand waving. There's no southern flights. There's nothing happening in the southern hemisphere. No two celestial poles. It's just hand waving. So it's not honest.
I can see it from your point of view. I can. I'm just saying there seems to be a few things happening at once in real time.
There are no flat earthers conducting serious experiments and serious inquiry. They don't do it.
They were. Bob Noodle did it, right?
Yeah, that was.
Well,
I mean, now they're looking up to Riley now when he added unicorn farts to glass of water and make the egg float.
I'm doing an experiment right now. I have a black shoe, high heel, and I'm saying to myself, wow, what a phenomena. How the hell did the shoe get here?
Is a shoe a natural phenomenon?
Are we talking about your transvestism now? Why are we doing that?
No, this is me laughing at you guys.
Why do you have high-heeled shoes, dude?
How do you know I could have a high heel shoe fetish? How do you know?
Well, that's
a little weirder.
my
to be a
point.
transvestite. Yeah.
Actually, it's fairly common.
So let's science the shoe. Let's science the shoe. Oh, wait a minute. We can't.
Why
You
not?
already know who made it.
Why can't you science a shoe?
Well, tell us, Brenda. Tell us.
Can you?
What's the phenomena? What's the phenomena?
Can you
Brenda?
burn the shoe?
That's
shoe
not
burning. Burning shoe.
So you're walking in the forest and you see a shoe. What do you say? Wow.
Yeah, that's on fire.
What a phenomenon.
That's on fire.
There's a shoe.
Yes,
It's on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, nature caused the shoe, Essie.
Do they grow in the forest? Is that where shoes come from?
Yeah, this is developing now. So.
You asked the question. Did that
No,
shoe
because-
grow from
I'm
from
only.
a plant?
I just sat back down. You guys are finding shoes in the forest.
You find a shoe in the forest. Look for someone hopping around.
Hey,
The whole
can I
point-
ask a question, Essie?
Well, I would say, is there a shoe plant? Could the shoe
Essie.
have grown out of a plant?
I guess eventually.
Sure, but Essie, it's what's the opposite of
Evolution's
natural?
gonna make that happen eventually, isn't it, guys?
No, so this whole thing is part of QE's false dichotomy between and natural as being objects of science.
Well,
Keep
Brenda,
going.
you kind of said earlier on.
Essie,
This is
Essie, what's
very
the
gooey flavored. I've noticed this whole thing.
Essie?
Well, Brenda said
Is
earlier on that we
supernatural
don't
the
have
opposite
any.
of natural?
There are no experiments and whatnot. But Brenda, all we have to do is look at your experiments that are trying to prove the ball.
Hello?
And use that basically.
What is supernatural?
Something not natural.
But define it. What is it?
It's natural with the cape.
Is it in this realm or is it outside of this realm?
What do you mean with this rail?
By realm, he just means natural.
Anything that exists is in the natural world, right?
Okay,
Did you
what
get
is
mine?
synthetic?
I
What
like
is
it more.
synthetic?
See?
It's an easy explanation.
Well, make me a rock then,
What
Mole
is
man.
synthetic?
If we can make things natural,
Synthetic.
let's make a
Artificial.
rock.
It's an antonym to the different definition to the word natural. That's the problem here.
Yeah,
The
we're talking about
word
natural
Man-made,
world.
right? Man-made,
Yeah,
right?
subset of natural.
Man-made versus natural world. That's
Are
what
man-made things supernatural?
man-made things are
Is a
man-made
shoe, is a
things.
shoe man-made?
Supernatural?
No, it just means we
No.
know the
Is a
cause.
shoe
But it's
supernatural?
not supernatural, so it's natural.
A shoe is supernatural, Brenda? Did I just
No,
hear you
I-
correctly?
It
No,
doesn't.
you didn't hear me correctly. You did not hear me
Yes,
correctly.
you did. I'm sure somebody's
Can-
taping it.
Yeah.
You said
Can
a shoe is
can I ask?
supernatural, Brenda.
Can
I asked
can I
you.
ask a question to Brenda?
Like zero fucking moderation here.
Brenda.
Can I get a point in real quick? Just real quick, a small point that is compelling on the word natural. The OED will tell you when the first use of a word shows up, and in when Newton and those guys were talking about natural science, the meaning of the word was the opposite of supernatural. The idea of man-made being a meaning of natural, that didn't come into being until like the early 1800s, like 1820 something. So nowadays, we have a more modern definition, and the modern definition kind of means both things. But back when it was originally being used to call it natural science, it only meant the opposite of supernatural.
Yeah, but let me explain.
Brenda, can I ask you a question, Brenda?
Well, hold on, let me just clear up the confusion with
Is
why.
a human being a combination of the two, natural and supernatural? What keeps you alive?
The food and the water, the food I eat. No such thing.
There is no such thing as a life force.
Correct. There's no such thing as a life force.
If there were, would it be supernatural?
No.
No, it'd be natural.
You know,
It's something you can't. It's something you can't quantify. You can't measure it. It's pure energy.
And it doesn't exist.
So you can measure pure energy, though.
That's the definition of something that doesn't exist.
What keeps me alive, Merle, is metabolism. I take in substances like carbohydrates and sugars, and I metabolize them, and I get energy from them.
So is a shoe natural or supernatural, Brenda?
That's a good question.
Shoes are natural. Shoes are natural.
Yeah. You know, another word like this is like the word cool. Like where cool means two different things. It means things that are cold, and it means like you have a confident demeanor or something like that, right? It means two different things, and both those two meanings have two different antonyms. So the opposite of cool would be hot, and the opposite of cool would be lame or something. You know, they have two different antonyms.
Another example.
Natural.
I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
Well, I was bringing it to the main point, which is natural is the same kind of word. Where natural, it means one thing, and when the way which we're describing it, natural meaning the opposite of supernatural. It doesn't in these contexts at all. It never means natural as in the opposite of man-made or synthetic.
It's like there's natural foods, but those foods that are not natural foods are not supernatural foods or man-made foods.
Let's take Brenda's shoe. So, does anybody know the cause of the shoe? What caused that to come into existence?
Yes, it was a shoe plant.
Kimo, is a shoe supernatural, Kimo?
No, but let's just take your path and say it's a phenomenon, a natural phenomenon, and we want to know what caused. We want to know what caused that shoe.
So, Kimo, do you understand the point that I was making with the shoe?
Well, this is the point: is that are you saying there is an effect here?
Answering it with a question. I want an answer to the question.
I understood. That's why I'm asking you. Did you see a cause? Did you see an effect? Did you see an effect with that shoe, Brenda?
The whole point was to point out QE's false dichotomy as natural and artificial. That's a false dichotomy.
Yeah, but the reason why he brings it up is because we're looking for phenomenon, observed phenomenon. So with the shoe, we cannot see an observed phenomenon here. Therefore, we know what caused it, Brenda, already. You see?
No, so the whole point is his false division between artificial, man-made, and his claim is you can't do science on man-made items, and that's wrong.
Okay, fine. So what caused the shoe?
Bridge the gap here. I understand what both sides are saying. Okay, so one side is basically saying that it's natural, or basically in the natural world versus a supernatural world, or the creator. You can't science a creator because the creator has access to whatever they did that humans can't do. You can't reproduce what they did to determine cause and effect. On the flip side, if you've got something that I do or some other person does, you know the cause of that because I did it. But on the flip side, if you want to science something I did and you can reproduce those results using the same methods and practices, you can science my process.
That's called psychology. It's a science.
So it bridges it, right? Does that make sense to everyone or not?
It does, but the main point though is that the distinction between the word natural, like natural in this context and any context we're ever going to be discussing, as far as science goes, is never going to be so something that's made by man or made artificial. None of that is going to disclude it from being natural in the context in which we're using it. Everything that exists in reality is natural in the way in which we're using it.
Don't you understand natural versus man-made? Like, is that a hard concept for you to understand?
Just went through it all. I see.
No, the problem is when you determine cause and effect, right? So if I make a shoe, that right there, the cause and effect is I did it.
Yeah,
now, but
it's
someone,
it's that freaking simple.
By the gods.
if someone else finds my shoe, they can then use science and determine cause and effect to figure out how the shoe was made. Because they're observing the shoe in nature.
They would observe certain aspects of the shoe.
No, anybody with half a brain, if they found the shoe, they would say, I wonder which shoemaker made it. That's about it.
What if they don't know what shoes are?
Okay, so we have science, and the opposite of science would be pseudoscience. So what is pseudoscience? So when you guys say that everything, when you guys say everything is science, well, how can it be science if it's a collection of beliefs?
Who says everything is science?
Mistakenly regarded as based on the scientific method. So that's what pseudoscience is, which is not science. You see?
What is pseudoscience, Kimo, again? What is it?
So pseudoscience is a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarding as being based on the scientific method, Brenda.
Definition, but what constitutes something being pseudoscience?
When someone has a belief that they've mistakenly regarded it based on the scientific. We tell by, how do we tell, Brenda, that you're doing the opposite to science? Yeah, how do we tell you're doing the opposite to science? Is that we look at your method and we look at the way you've conducted it, and you said, well, I have a shoe, but that doesn't follow the scientific method, so there's no science here.
Why not?
Hold on.
I think it does.
Hold on.
Well, okay then. So your scientific method, what was the phenomenon that you saw in nature?
Whoa. All we've done is observe a shoe.
What was the? Yeah, again, this is mistakenly based
on
observations.
Are observations part of your scientific method?
No.
You don't observe things in your scientific method.
No, that's not. That is not. Again, that is
science. You conduct science without observing things, is what you're telling me.
No, this is a collection of beliefs. So again, that's a belief that you have, Jem. That's how science is done. That's not how science is done. No.
You're contradicting Quantum Eraser then, Kimo, because he says it's the first thing you do is an observation.
No, he's wrong. If that's what you're saying, he's saying, then he's wrong.
Okay, you said this yesterday, Kimo. You said those words yesterday to somebody.
Kimo, no, you are wrong. I don't think Kiwi would say that, by the way. But
are you actually saying that science should be done without observation? That's what you're now arguing.
No, you asked me a question. Is that the first step? And I said no.
I did not say is that the first step. I didn't say that.
No one said it.
I said, are observations part of science?
Well, of course you're going to look, you're going to observe things, yeah, but that's not science.
Is this an observation?
Jesus, what a double speaker.
No, that's not science. That's mistakenly regarded as being based on the scientific method.
You are observations part of science?
Well, now you're just being silly. Do we observe things? Do we look at things? Yes. That's not science, though.
But do you need to make an observation?
It's the first step. Observe a natural phenomenon. Let's get on with this.
Are observations part of science?
No, that's not science.
It's a simple question, Kimo. You've got one more chance to answer it. But you cannot seriously sit there and argue that observations are not part of science. That is the question.
Well, which part of science?
Question.
Which part?
It's not. Is every observation I make science? I didn't ask you that. I said, are observations part of science?
Not according to the scientific method, no.
What's the first step in the scientific method?
So you have to have an observed phenomenon in nature.
Observations.
No. Not just looking at a shoe. No. Not just looking at. Not just looking at a shoe. No.
No one was talking about shoes.
Not just
Kimo.
looking at something and saying, shoe.
Why are you guys cutting Kimo off?
I know. Not letting me speak. Not letting me respond.
Let's hear Kimo. Let's Kimo clear it up.
My point is to wrap that bit up. Is if this is I say observations obviously are part of science, and if this is an observation, then this can be part of science. It might be your very first step, or it might be a step, but regardless of that, it can be considered science. It depends what else you do beyond that.
No,
but you can't just say it's not science until I've done the experiment and reached some sort of conclusion.
Just not letting me respond. You see, no one's letting me respond.
I'm nearly there. Science is a process. It requires observations, sometimes many repeated observations. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, you said it 3 or 4 times, is observations, and I said no, but you kept repeating that, so you were supposed to ask why.
Oh, because I couldn't believe you.
Well, hold on.
Anyway, you were saying such a ridiculous thing.
But I'm saying, I'm not asking you to respond, I'm just saying that you would say this, I say this, you say, but then you're going to say why? Why is it not? Then I can explain to you why, and obviously why is because it's not just about observation like Brenda just looking at a shoe and be like, I can observe something. No, we have to have a phenomenon that is curious, questionable. It has to be questionable where we can predict the cause to the effect. That's kind of observations we're talking. That's a scientific observational phenomenon that we're looking for. Not just
observation. I think there's a misunderstanding here. The difference is observation science or is observation part of science?
Exactly.
That is what Gem Panda was asking.
No, observation.
Kimo understands. He's lying. He's
no. Observations, Brenda, are not part of science. You don't just look at something and say, shoe, no. I see shoe, therefore science. No. There has to be for goodness sake, there has to be an observed phenomena that's questionable.
Yeah, an observation.
Okay, so
what's observation you're talking about, dude?
Okay, so that's why I said let's go through your shoe and find out what is questionable about your shoe.
It's a hypothetical thing, so you can make anything up that would be questionable about it. But that's not the point. Jem was asking you the same thing that you just said. Is it a part of science to make an observation, or he's not asking you is it always a part of science, or is it always going to be science when you make an observation? He's just saying, is an observation a part of science?
No, I just said no. You don't just look at something.
I know, but then you said it was. So that's what is fucking weird about
Kimo, can you have an observed phenomenon without making an observation?
That's why I said earlier on that you're being silly. Of course, you've got to look at stuff, but that's not science, is it?
That's right.
You're just being silly now. So when I say observation, you can't just look at your shoe and then start conducting science. There was no phenomenon here.
Observation of itself is not science. That's not what anyone's saying.
It's not a part of science. You can't even just look at a shoe and then start from there and then do science. There's no more science after that shoe because we know it's man-made.
Hold on. Okay, first, it being man-made has nothing to do with the phenomenon.
Okay.
Okay. If you find a random shoe in the middle of a forest, right? The observation is there's a shoe in the forest inextricably, right? Because obviously shoes don't grow on trees, right?
Sure.
So the observed phenomena is a shoe randomly in the middle of a forest.
Okay. So what caused the shoe? I mean, what phenomenon are you seeing? Sorry, what phenomenon are you seeing here?
I just said it. If you were paying attention, you would have heard it. A random shoe in a place that shoes don't grow, right? Because shoes don't grow on trees.
Okay.
So now from there, you can actually perform science, find out how the shoe got there, possibly to whom it belonged to.
Like a missing persons type of scenario.
Science is still a science, unless you're going to say forensic
Fair
science.
enough,
is
fair
pseudoscience.
enough, fair enough. Let's not argue. Okay, so what's your independent variable? What do you predict caused the shoe to be there?
Why would that's the whole point, is to find out what the overall cause, in other words, the
Why are you
how.
arguing with me? Let's do it. Give me your predicted cause of the shoe being there.
It's a made-up scenario. Pick one.
You can make it up. Yeah, this is the whole point of your hypothesis. You're going to guess what caused the shoe.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. No, you're going to investigate, not guess.
That's not science. You need a hypothesis
Yes,
to predict the cause.
You're going to sit here and say that forensic science is not a science.
I don't know why you're arguing with me.
Bearded Devil, I can do this. So you'd look, say, with the shoe thrown. Then you could look at the area on the ground and see, is there impact damage on the ground? No, it looks like it wasn't thrown. Was it?
Good. That's good. It could be, for instance, this is a missing person, and the person lost their shoe. So we could
you would
maybe
hire
have
a private
the other shoe
investigator in that case.
Exactly.
to do forensic science.
End of story.
But Bearded Devil, look, hold on, Bearded here. I want to know. Well, I'm trying to work with you. You're working against me. I'm asking. Okay, fine. Forest. What is the cause to this phenomenon you're seeing? You said the shoe's a phenomenon. I'm asking you. The question is, I'm asking you, what caused this?
I didn't say the shoe was a phenomena. I said the fact that the shoe is somewhere where shoes don't grow is the natural phenomenon.
Okay, that's a natural phenomenon.
Don't
Okay.
grow on trees.
Okay.
So that's a given.
Okay, what is the cause? Let's predict a cause.
So that means somebody came there, walked there.
That's one hypothesis.
Somebody
I see.
put the shoe there. What kind of moronic stuff is this?
Well, that would be the cause.
That's one hypothesis, Essie. Yeah, it could have been. I don't know. How else? Could have been the wind. The wind could have blew it there.
It fell off an airplane.
I think a bird carried the shoe.
Now we're going to La La Land. That is
station.
not the scientific method.
Hold on. we got a possible series of hypotheses that can occur, right? Somebody dropped it like by accident, right? Fell off, right? Someone deliberately placed it there, or somebody was kidnapped or even killed.
Or somebody put it. What if somebody just put it there?
An infinite amount.
Somebody just deliberately placed it there because there are assholes in the world who do shit like that.
Yeah, each one.
How are you going to test any? How are you going to test your? How are you going to test
Cool
your?
story, bro. But
how you
man
gonna
still
test?
made that shoe.
How are you going to test
Any
your?
tap dance you do will not change that.
No one cares about the fact that it's a man-made shoe.
Cool
it's
story.
already given that it's been made by a person.
All
no
right,
one's trying
but
to find
how
out
are you bearded? You're looking for an argument where there's not one. How are you going to test your hypothesis?
What do you mean? How are you going to test it?
You just gave your independent variable of how the shoe, whatever your phenomenon is.
Independent variables. I gave 0 independent variables because
that's what I'm asking you for. I'm asking you for. You said the phenomenon. What caused this? Cause effect. What caused the shoe to do whatever you're seeing?
He doesn't get it, Kimo. He's thick.
stop. Yeah.
How did the shoe?
This is a made-up Kimo.
Kosho, stop doing that.
The cause of the shoe is not the subject of our scientific investigation. The cause of the shoe being in the forest is the subject of our scientific investigation.
Okay, so I've got to respond. No, hold on. I've got to respond to Jem.
Then hire a private investigator
I've got to
and let him
respond
get on
to
the
Jem.
case.
Look, so Jem, remember we began this with pseudoscience. Now, pseudoscience is mistakenly based on science that is based on the scientific method. Now, you're saying you're doing science, but you're stepping outside now of the scientific method. You're saying, well, we're not looking for cause and effect. We're looking for something else. That's not science.
That's not true. We're looking for the cause of the shoe being in the forest.
Yeah.
Your way. There's an
Kimo,
easier. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a clearing question? Yeah, are you talking about natural science, Kimo?
Anyway, Crick can take this on, or any of the flat earth. I think.
Just very quickly, you don't have to. The question doesn't have to be how did the shoe get there. You can be asking a more appropriate question, like you could be stuck in the woods, and you could be there could be like rocks everywhere, and it's dangerous. You don't have any shoes at all. You're stuck in the woods, and you found like 3 random shoes, and you're testing. You want to see which shoes are the most appropriate to wear in whatever environment.
And you can just find an ancient sandal and figure out how old it is.
But that's not part of the scientific
nobody's
method.
telling
yeah.
you
You
can't
would
do that.
you would do immediate you would do exact sciences to figure that out. You would do the kind of test for what the shoes are good for, what they can stand up against, and all that other kind of
Just
stuff.
being silly now, Kosho.
No, that's not. This is actually the science that's done with shoes in real life. In real life, science is done with shoes, and this is
That's why I asked.
This is what they do.
That's
when
why
they
I
get
asked
stuck
Kimo.
in a
Are you
corner,
talking about
see?
natural science?
We're just talking about. I'm accepting Bearded and Brenda's shoe, but they're not working with me. We're trying to find out what caused their phenomenon, and they're working against us. So where do we go from here? You can't even work with us.
That's exactly why I just said.
You're ignoring. What do you think the observed phenomena is in this scenario?
A phenomena is something that is questionable. So we're curious about what caused that to happen.
No. You redefining a term doesn't make it what that is. So what is the phenomena in this scenario?
Would be the effect.
You're still not answering the question.
What? Huh? I'm sticking to the scientific method, and we need an observed phenomena in nature.
Watch. Again, once we're here, what is the observed phenomena as I've described it?
So the phenomena is that you we have shoes just appearing in nature. Shoes don't just appear. This one did. You want to know how did this one just appear in nature?
The location, but okay.
Yeah, of course. So we want to know how did this happen? What caused this shoe to appear in nature like this?
That's not the claim.
Kimo, spontaneous
That's your question.
appearance.
That's not let me ask this. Why
This
do
is
you,
gonna go
why do
down
you
in
think
history.
that, shut up,
Appearance,
Jesse.
I like
Why do you
How
think
did
that,
the shoe
why do you-
appear out of nowhere
God
in
damn
the
it.
forest?
Why do you think that your question is the only question you can ask about that shoe?
Because we're dealing with the scientific method. If you have other questions,
No,
that's not science.
We're asking different questions.
You can do, but that's not
Kimo,
science.
Kimo, my shoe broke down in nature.
Okay.
I want to find out the cause for it being broken down.
Well, what's the phenomenon? Broken down shoe? I would have said you are the cause.
Yeah, the shoe broke down.
Yeah, you. I would say you. I would test again you with the same shoe and.
Oh, so you'd test it?
Yeah, so I would leave the shoe alone.
There you go.
I would get a brand new shoe, leave it alone. There's no damage. I would get another shoe, put you in the shoe, damage. So you are my variable. You are the cause.
Yeah, but the question might
you,
be.
You just did the scientific method on a shoe.
Yeah, there you go. You asked me for. That's what I said. We're working together.
But you're arguing you can't do that, Kimo. Did you forget?
No. We have an effect which is broken. Something is broken.
Yeah, but it's not just about
Things
cause and
don't just.
effect.
Hold on,
This is a
Kosho.
shoe
Kosho, stop
graveyard.
talking to me like that. Now look,
means worn
things
down.
don't just break in nature, do they?
Worn down.
Of course they do. Things
What?
break in nature all the time.
Everything breaks down in nature.
So if I have a shoe and just leave it there, how will it break?
What are you talking
Entropy.
Show me a
dummy.
shoe. Show me a brand new shoe that breaks down.
All apart.
What do you mean brand new shoe? Show me a 5,000-year-old shoe that's
Did
not
it fall
broken down.
off Did it fall off your foot while you were walking? That's how it broke.
There's a reason why they call it weather.
No.
It's because the weather will weather everything. So
Just show me a shoe that hasn't been
Fucking
worn
stupid
that
to
has
say that
broken
things
down.
So
don't
we went
break
from
down
shoe
in
Kimo
nature.
to broken shoe. This
Right.
is getting interesting.
Not broken shoe, broken down, deteriorated.
No, he said he had a broken shoe.
No, deterioration. That's what he's
I didn't
referring
say I broke it. I say that I have a broken down shoe.
Ah, you have?
You might
No,
not
that's
wanna know
different.
why it
Okay, so
broke
you have a
down.
broken down shoe. We didn't know the cause. Okay,
you
so
don't have to cause.
so how,
the question-
when you say broken, what do you mean by broken? How is it broken?
It's tiered.
There's a tear on there, yeah?
Yeah.
So now we need to find out what caused that tear. It's a mystery.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's a
That's not the only
mystery.
question.
It's a mystery, and we don't know what, because things don't just tear in nature, right? Unless they're like earthquakes. So
No,
are we
no,
saying?
there's
Are
no-
we
yeah.
saying? Are we saying that there was an earthquake on your shoe?
Could be a meteorite. Could
but
be a
it's
lightning
not-
strike. There's a lot of things.
That's not the question, though, Kimo. I mean, that could be the question, but there could be other questions like what is the threshold for the amount of damage this shoe can take. Like you're just looking at how much damage can this shoe take before it's not usable anymore.
You can ask that. Yeah, of course you can. Well, that wouldn't be science. That'd be
Yeah, no, that is science. That is indeed science. It's not a cause and effect. You're not looking for a cause and effect answer. You're looking for like a magnitude answer.
Yeah, but
like
the opposite of science is pseudoscience, and that means when you're doing pseudoscience, you have belief that is mistakenly based on science. So you're not actually doing
this
science.
This is why I'd like to ask you the difference between natural science and science.
Well, I mean, again, what we're looking for is cause and effect. We have a method
In natural science or in science altogether.
Well, just in
like
nature,
computer
what
science.
we see that's not affected by man in any way.
That's not.
So computers. What is computer science?
It's not. There's no.
Is it
such thing.
science?
There's no such thing. It's just a buzzword.
What?
Just a buzzword.
Then science is a buzzword. Then
computer science. What do you mean computer science? What is computer science? Exactly. Nobody
computer
knows
science.
what computer. Well, what is it? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. What is it? Explain computer
very
science.
simple.
Brought it up. What is computer
It's the study
science?
of computers.
What?
Study of computers.
So a computerologist.
Programming, things like that.
A technician, then.
The social science also.
Social science.
Yep.
What is social science?
Study of societies and, politics, things like that.
Politics is now science.
Social science.
Gets better and better, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Everything
Political
is
science.
Well,
I mean, to be fair, political science, computer science, and other type of sciences, it just like means to like the study of this particular field. I think what Kimo is saying here is that it's not the same science what we're discussing here, the natural science. There's the science of like explaining natural phenomena that exist outside in the world. I think that's what he means, right, Kimo?
Right, but
Yeah, that's
my example of it.
Is
that's why I
astrology
asked.
science? How about astrology?
Yeah,
It's
my
the study
example and magnitude of damage you can take before it breaks down. He's saying that's also pseudoscience.
Yeah, he's
No,
saying
it's not
that
pseudoscience.
everything.
Yeah, of course.
But that's what Kimo says. Everything that isn't natural science is pseudoscience.
No, look, all you got to focus on is it based on the scientific method. That's what if it's the opposite of that, it's pseudoscience.
Science is not even the opposite of science.
No,
not the
pseudoscience is the opposite of science.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Isn't it? What is it? What's the opposite of science then?
You said it. You defined it 18 times in the chat. It doesn't
What is
say,
the
"Hey, this is
opposite of science then?
It says it's masquerading as
Kimo,
science."
Kimo, what's the opposite of red?
What's the opposite of science?
I would say
Non-science or something.
religion,
Is the opposite of science.
religion.
How is it
Is
the opposite
fool's
of
gold the
science?
opposite of gold, Kimo?
Because there are
Religion is
phenomena
quite the opposite of
in religion. There's phenomenon that happens, miracles. So what's the difference?
Listen,
You're required to
how do you
accept them as true without evidence. You're required to have faith in those truths, right?
No, we have the world existing. That's a phenomenon that can't be explained. That's religious ideas, what you might think caused it. Exactly.
You have no science for
Fundamental
anything.
of your religion that it's based on faith, right, and not on works.
No, we're just looking for the opposite of religion or the opposite of science.
I think religion works pretty well.
It's the opposite of
does.
science.
What one requires that you have testable evidence, and the other requires that you don't.
Yeah.
The other is study of natural world.
No.
And the other is
The
assertions
religious
about the natural
people do
world.
look for evidence, and they feel they have enough evidence to go with the word of God.
Yeah, they're doing
Faith
pseudoscience.
is a more general term that I would probably say. There's science and then faith. Just having faith in something, because faith doesn't require any evidence at all.
I just did a study on shoes a few minutes ago. And my observation is that leather, first off, these shoes that were claimed to be leather are not leather. And also that leather wears better than this material that they made these of.
Still not science, and that was a
And who
phenomenon.
made those shoes? Upon your investigation, who made those shoes?
That was not the question, except for who I won't buy shoes from again. They were false advertising. They said they were all leather uppers, and apparently through science, I was able to determine that to be false.
Really? What's the brand?
What's that?
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much how science works, guys. You've got to have you observe phenomena, not just observations. Don't listen to what Brenda's saying about just looking at a shoe. There's nothing questionable. We know the cause of that shoe.
I thought I just did science on a shoe. I told you that it's not leather.
I know you have a belief that you think is based on the scientific method. No.
I had a belief that the shoe was not leather. Then I looked at it closer and I noticed that the way that it fell apart was commensurate with man-made product.
There's no cause and effect here, Moyak.
We've already gone through that.
The cause was it was not made of leather.
It can only be cause and effect. Otherwise, it's beliefs based on the scientific method. Everything else is just based on. Yeah, but whatever you say, anything else that you think is science is just based on the belief that you're doing science, but it's not because you're not conducting.
So what did I do if it wasn't science?
I don't know. Pseudoscience.
Oh.
How?
What? That's stupid.
No, that's what the definition.
Airplanes fly.
Here's the definition.
Pseudoscience.
Moyak wanted to figure out if they were leather or not. How is that pseudoscience?
He's mistaken. He has a belief that he thinks he's doing something based on the scientific method.
No one's saying you can't do that, but it's not a cause and effect relationship.
I know it's not cause and effect relationship, but that's my point. Is it science is not limited to cause and effect relationships?
Well, then how are you gonna know the answer? It's just a guess.
Well, short and light the effect. Wasn't short and light the effect, and the cause was man-made materials?
Couldn't even hear you, Coach.
Yeah, but you don't know it doesn't have to be cause and effect, though.
Yeah, but if you don't know the cause and effect, Coach, then you're just guessing about the world you live in, unless you measure it, of course.
No, if you want to know if the shoes are made of real leather or fake leather, it's not a guess. You can figure that out.
It's not science, then, all right?
You can still use science, yeah.
How is it science?
In both cases, you know what caused it, man.
You know more about the natural world after that. So.
Question.
Well, explain the science.
I don't know how many times SE or Kimo are gonna. If something is obviously made by a person, that's not the question. The question isn't is this man? Well, it's not. This is man-made, therefore that's we already know that it was man-made. No one is asking that question.
Okay.
Mine was a materials question.
Yeah, they can be asked pretty easily because you could say, "Is this leather?" I'm not to sound gross here, but is that leather cow skin? Is that leather sheep? You know, or human skin?
Oh, that's true.
That's a good question. You can ask
still not science. Still not science.
Yes, it is because you would have to do some kind of testing to figure out what it was. You do some kind of testing.
No, I can also find out if human skin lasts longer than cow skin.
Yeah, well, that's why I was thinking it was going to go gross.
What you're not getting is an experiment is manipulating your independent variable. That's what you're experimenting with.
Not all science requires experiments.
I mean, not science.
Experiments require that kind of.
I noticed how he did a little switcheroo there, and science suddenly just became experiment now. That's all it is.
The experiment part comes in to validate the hypothesis or to invalidate it. Either way.
Yeah, but not all science requires experiments. Like most wildlife biology doesn't require you can't even really do experiments. Same thing with astronomy. There you can do some experiments, but a lot of times it's just observations and
field studies, or for instance, natural experiments where you can't control any of the variables.
Or sometimes an experiment would be unethical to try to determine that sort of whatever observation would be.
Yes.
But if you want to know what the material of some shoe is, there could be we can do a whole bunch of different methods to do it. But let's say one of the methods is getting the shoe wet, like it's because the different leathers behave differently to water. So you would know, there would be things that would go into the testing that you're doing. But there's an infinite amount of questions and an infinite amount of ways to do science.
Nope. Just who made it. Just who made it. That's the only question there is in the whole world.
Apparently.
It's the stupidest thing in the world. So science only shows us whether something's natural or man-made. Wow. That's such a useful technique.
That's because one person interpreted something they read wrong and shared it with everybody else in an angry, emphatic way. But the cause and effect that whoever first purported that's what science is based on, that cause and effect that they're talking about is simply about the independent variables in experimentation. Like that's just describing that relationship. It's not describing the entire field of science.
But really, what this issue? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's a specific type of experiment.
And kind of what this issue kind of boils down to was that at the very beginning, where people would claim flat earthers deny science, so it almost became this pedantic argument about what science is, instead of just finding some sort of common ground. Like when I did Zanek's science acumen test, he's like, understand science, from his point of view.
I don't think that is where it came from, Crit. I think that it was Quantum Eraser that brought this argument in here, and he already had it to support his creationist debating. And it's an argument specifically designed to reject whole fields of science so that he can make Genesis 1 and 2 comport with reality. So he can just ignore all of geology, all of paleontology, all of cosmology, all of astronomy, all of that. He just says is pseudoscience. I think that's ridiculous. And no one else in the world subscribes to this version of science. You won't find any university that says astronomy and geology are pseudoscience. It's ridiculous. Even creationist universities don't say that.
So how did they figure out penicillin? They just winged it? They just guessed at it?
Actually, it was an accident. Talking about?
No, it was accidental.
It was an accident.
It was accidental.
Careful observation of findings. It was, I just found out that the bacteria that are growing died. Why did it die? And they started looking at the environment, and he found out that I think it was bread mold had fallen on it.
Yeah, it was a Canadian scientist. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, is there a cause and effect between insulin and somebody dying?
Well, it was because man observed. It was actually because man observed it.
Another example is Viagra, how it was originally used for heart disease or whatever, heart thinning or blood thinning or whatever. But you can imagine that if you're doing the kind of testing. Excuse me?
No, you just said 7 out.
Who's got a hot mic? Oh, Brian Mavitt, of course.
But basically, we found out man made it. And the other thing is, there's two types of things in the world. There's man made it and man observed it. So that's it. That's all we can find with science is man made it or man observed it.
Well, okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the Viagra. Fuck, I remember what the point was. I think I was just going to say that Viagra. It was, when you're doing the scientific testing for the drug, how it was originally going to be used. You find out that there's side effects that are actually not helpful for the thing that they originally were going to do, but those those kind of failed experiments. I guess you could call those failed experiments because it failed the thing that they wanted to do without side effects. Ended up being useful and somewhere else. Sometimes you can have discoveries or find things out without directly looking for them.
We found out mercury wasn't a good food additive, but it's a great way to kill people.
What are you talking about? It cures you from spike balls.
Cures you from life.
Spike balls flying that are chasing you around.
That's true. Just like silver cures you from not being blue.
Haha, nice derail, Kosho. Very funny. Haha, but we're still here. And the science.
It wasn't a derailment. It's fine.
Haha, very funny. But
What,
look,
still
you
here,
guys.
Still pretending that quantum eraser is the arbiter of all science, and he gets to decide what it is and isn't. Is that what we're doing? We're still.
No, we're just trying to find out how you can figure out things about the natural and physical world. So, for example, if things are falling to the ground, like the apple falls, that is a natural observed phenomenon we see. And we were like, well, what causes that? Why is that happening? Can we investigate? Can we experiment? Can we conduct a hypothesis? And I think we can. I think you can. I think we all can come up with a hypothesis and test it and manipulate our variable to make sure that whatever we say the cause is the cause.
That same test can be done by throwing a ball up in the air and watching it fall down as well too. So it's not necessarily
that's the same observed phenomenon, right?
Right, exactly. So it's not necessarily.
So if I see you throw a ball up, I've still got to answer what caused the ball to come down.
Okay.
It's the same observation, natural phenomenon. We need to test
what
caused. Eh? So, Kosho, even if you throw the ball, I can say you caused the ball, or if you want to go with gravity, causing it to accelerate down, if that's your hypothesis, we can say, okay, let's do some science. Let's manipulate your predicted cause, what you predict.
Kimo,
Yes.
there's an issue already.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between the tree letting go of the apple and a person letting go of a ball?
Well, I only brought that up because Kosho invoked. Kosho, you're not letting me finish as usual because we have, some of the strongest arguments here today in 2021 and all that. But I know you have to. Here he goes again. Here he goes again.
Yeah, I'm just going to correct what I said.
Here he goes again. No. Let me explain. I was asked. Okay, you said I spoke about apples. You spoke about balls, and then I said, well, we can either go with you were the cause, you threw it up, that caused it to fall, or we can go with gravity causing the acceleration of the ball falling down. Either doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not arguing. You guys are looking for arguments, but there are none. So we're looking for these hypotheses. You're saying gravity. Let's go with gravity. If gravity is causing the acceleration, we've got to be able to test this, right?
Right. I was going to tell Bearded. Bearded, the distinction I made was the apples falling from the tree, but I said, like Kimo did say what I said correctly, that throwing the ball up. And I said you could throw the ball up and then watch as it comes back down. And those would be the same observed phenomena if you were trying to figure out what's causing it to come back down.
Right.
Not just dropping it. But
you're confusing people, Kosho. That's the point.
Oh, I'm not confusing anybody, Kimo.
You are confusing. You brought the ball into
Yeah,
it.
I got the distinction, Kosho.
Yeah. So either way, Kosho, we still have an acceleration downwards is what you're telling us. You're saying, look, there's a bias. Again, we can work with you, we can go with that, but we need that experiment. Otherwise, we may as well just believe the Bible because that's what they just say with no experiment. If you're just saying, well, there's an acceleration with a force, well, let's test that force.
Is that acceleration?
What? But yeah, I mean, I'm ready to test this force. And that means we have to manipulate what we predict is causing it. Otherwise, we can just guess. We can go from bendy space-time to mass attracting mass to, whatever you want. Unless you're able to test it, right?
I can also ask how fast it will fall and will it fall. There's all sorts of questions. It's an infinite line of questions you can ask.
And whatever you want.
I don't have to answer the one question that you want.
You don't have to, no.
Question that's curious to me.
Yeah, you're not being held down to answer this scientific question. You can ask whatever you want.
I can ask any scientific question.
Well, what do you mean?
What affects the rate of fall?
The rate something is, so you're going to measure something. So when Usain Bolt runs from one point to another point, that's science. Don't be silly. Come on, of course it's not science.
I mean, listen, buddy. Kimo, listen, buddy. You're the one being silly. If you're seeing a boulder on the side of the mountain falling or rolling down, and it's rolling faster and faster and faster the more you look at it, is that science now? And what's that difference from
Exactly. Let's get
someone
a nonsense,
manufacturing
right?
or artificially making that same, experiment? See how dumb you are? Because the thing that we do in labs and shit, it already exists outside. We just want to control it. We just want to do it in a smaller scale so we can understand the phenomenon.
Yeah.
Don't act all willy-nilly smart, Kimo. You have nothing. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Don't
Your
say that.
scientific
I haven't
is
said
kinda
I'm
hilarious.
smart.
Yeah,
Look,
you are.
Don't say that. I haven't said that I'm just a regular guy, just looking for the truth. We're just going about regular things. Don't put me up in any position.
I don't believe you.
Well, I've never said anything like that, okay? I've always said...
You lied before.
Right, we're just normal people.
You provided fake evidence before.
We have a way of looking at the world and how to get knowledge, not misinformation or like someone's best guess. Who needs someone's best guess? Not today. You don't need that.
You don't have a method of getting knowledge. You have a method of avoiding knowledge. That's
Oh, yeah.
all this is designed to do, and that is clearly what the result is.
I have to challenge you on that, and there's a challenge, but because no.
There's a
challenge him. Go ahead.
There has to be
Spurs.
Oh, Mel's here. Go for it, Mel. Go for it. It's all yours.
Pussy.
Is there a point when you have to agree to disagree?
Agree to it depends on how you see the people.
Debate.
Yeah, hold on, Joe. I got it.
You have to keep disagreeing.
It depends on how you see the person you're talking to. Now, for me, there's always challenges, Mel, to be met. Always. Somebody always thinks something, and there are places for that. This is one of those places where you can go to, the very end and hash these things out. But usually in the real world, Mel, so there's not fights and, scuffles, you would agree to disagree. But in this environment, the challenge is on. We are here to expose the global lie. We never tire, we never waver. Because again, Mel, because as well, they tell us about the, they tell us about the Christian side of it. That's why maybe from this side we're a bit more, than what you may be. Because you might be like, oh look, guys, you're not seeing it from a religious point, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas that may be an aspect for the people who take it slightly further. Mel, you see?
Definitely.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
I'm glad something shut the fucker up.
I know, right? I don't know, just give him the examples of that exist already in nature outside humans. Like the rate of falling things. The mechanics of how things certain works and stuff.
But that's the whole point of the conversation, though, is that it's not just. It's not just governing those things. It's governing all. Nature encompasses all things that are physical and experienced by all of us. So.
But the flat Earth discussion seems to be nuanced as well, because it involves, there's a scientific aspect to it, a philosophical one, a religious aspect.
There's no scientific aspect to flat Earth.
The difference between truth and lies, it's multifaceted.
It's very nice to hear this from a narcissistic man. Thank you very much.
Well, that's true, Merle. But at the end of the day, all those other things are, those are kind of subjective. Depending on who it is, because obviously when you come down to the lying and the psychology or the philosophy and that kind of stuff, everyone's gonna have their different opinions about the reasons and that kind of stuff.
It's kind of funny, like in this server and the other server, whenever I hear flippers talking about philosophy, the only thing I hear them say about philosophy is the word philosophy, and that's it. Nothing philosophical about their talk is philosophy.
I hear Lemon say that a lot, and sometimes actually it is philosophical, but he'll often say philosophical, but I don't think it's in the right context. But sometimes it is, so I don't know.
Well, you met with a basic premise. If the Earth has been created, you ask yourself, what created it? And
you can do an easy thing. You can attack that premise.
Finish real quick, though.
And then if you don't have an answer, you realize you require more information.
Not
how you go
necessarily.
about.
So we don't know the Earth was created or not.
Not necessarily. You can just attack the premise in that argument. The premise that if the Earth was created, you can attack that one. How do you know that for sure?
Yeah. Just make sure that you allow people to finish their whole thought.
Okay, I will allow Marilyn and Kimo to finish their points. Go ahead, boys.
Well, when a human being wants to create a house, the house doesn't create itself.
Wow, good, thanks.
Oh yeah, sorry, Mel. I just remember where we were. So you were asking, agree to disagree. It means just like stop arguing with them. But no, there's a
completely off subject now.
No, I'm saying there's something here, Spurs, because if you know you're correct, it's not about being right. If you know you're correct, 100% factual, scientific, it's not your opinion or your belief.
Like the Earth being a sphere, you mean, is a fact.
And then the other person thinks they're correct, and they're being 100% scientific in their mind.
Yep.
Then there is no other option sometimes but to agree to disagree.
Again,
that doesn't work this way. That's wrong, my dude.
Yeah, it depends on
It doesn't depend
like
on
say,
any
if you're out in
shit.
the real world talking to somebody, then yeah, you might just say, okay, fine. Because like when I was on the Globe Live tour, and you get some of the hardened Globers, okay, so I'd have to say, okay, fine, I agree to disagree. You have a nice day. I can't spend all day convincing just one person that they're wrong, or you know.
Yeah, you do.
Because they want to continue to have the conversation more, so you just have to say, well, look, I agree. Because it will turn into fisticuffs, right?
Why couldn't it be you, Kimo? Why can't you have this possibility that you're the one who's deluded and hard, staunched,
well, this
doofus
is it.
flipper?
If I'm deluded,
you could be that same guy that you're accusing him of being.
It could be.
Just if I could put a full
it's
stop on it.
actually you are. It's not could be. It's the fact.
Yeah, but that's your opinion. But
It's
if
not an opinion. It's an empirical fact. Sorry.
But if two people think they're right, what option do they have?
One of their reasoning or logic or whatever argumentation is going to be flawed. Like the one, like Kimo said, Kimo's right. Like when you agree to disagree, that's really giving up because you don't want to go on forever talking to this person, or you see that someone's going to be stubborn or something like that. But if both people were being perfect logicians and honest and had the right information, the correct information, then you would think that one of the people are going to come out ahead of the other. Like you're just going to be discovered what the truth is in that discussion. But usually somebody might have not the right information, not the right evidence, or their argumentation might just be flawed in some way.
Because Merle, again, a lot of the flat earthers are trying to convince the all earthers that they're speaking to. So I know Jem is never going to be convinced, even if we show him the flat earth example. So all we can do is have people like Veach, Jem, and say,
Maybe
hey,
you should try that.
That's
to
not
start
true,
with.
Kimo. Hold on. Jem always says if you have a convincing evidence, he will change his mind. So we do. The thing is, you're not providing anything, Kimo. Don't strawman us, okay? You fucking liar.
You've never shown the flat Earth yet. That's the problem. You can't keep it. You've got to show it.
So
For
how we
him to
understand
deny
it, as any debate or discussion, there are people who are not sure of what's going on. Now they see you as a global authority, yes, and obviously they see, for whatever reason, us as, you know, someone who talks about flat Earth and stuff. So they listen to our side, they listen to your side, and that's just pretty much what it is to show the world. We want to show the world that you guys have no idea what you're talking about. You have no science, no evidence, no maths, none of these things, and they're just a fantasy.
That's fine. Okay, we can
that's
live that
how
in
and
that
why
fantasy.
the flat Earth has grown. Because I keep telling you this. I tell you this, and he's like, you just don't listen. We don't create flat Earthers. I won't make you a flat Earther. What we do is that we raise awareness about the globe, and then people are like, oh, let me check that out. Let me find out if there is proof. And then they just say, "Oh, I remember who directed me, but they didn't make me the flat earther. They just helped me to see that we're not on a globe. That's all. We don't make."
Can I ask you an honest question, Spurs, if that's all right, and then Lael jump in? Like, just with this image, just wait, Lael, hold your horses. So, Spurs, what makes more sense, the sphere or the plane holding the sphere to you?
Come on, Merle.
Yeah.
Reflect. Kimo.
Clearly the sphere, because it matches all observations, fucker.
Hey, Kimo. Quick question for you. Well, first a statement. We have pictures of at least half the Earth. Can you provide one single picture of half the flat Earth?
No.
He can't. Remember, China and Russia and the USA are all colluding against us. So yeah, we can't. Sorry.
There's a great channel that you might not be aware of. It's called Dan Dimension. He has fantastic footage of the flat Earth.
Okay, sure. Give it to us, please. Provide it. Post it. Don't shy away.
Please
No
post
problem.
half the flat Earth. I don't want a portion of half. I want exactly half, like we can show you of the sphere Earth.
It's fine. We take that evidence. You wanna, study it a little bit. Come with us.
But what do you guys think about that Turkish guy's challenge? Because I looked it up, and even when you look up in the description what he typed out in one sentence, it said very simply that you just have to get footage of the Earth rotating, like a single single footage of the Earth rotating.
It's funny you say that, Kosho, because here's one from Dan Dimension. Like, how fast are we moving?
Depends on reference to what.
What I asked instead of moving on.
And you'll see the sun is pretty close to the hot air, the balloon there too.
Perfect. How about we answer my concern first instead of moving on? Show me.
Your concerns are not important, my dude.
I'll send that to you privately too, nice guy.
Sorry, the stupidity of that statement about the sun being closer when you're up in a balloon. When you do the measurement, it's still a half a degree, so it doesn't look any closer. Not a shred.
Chris, can you show a globe that is not CGI?
Yes. 1972 image, 1969 image, wasn't it? We got several of them.
I'll send that to you.
No, I said not. That's the paint. We know that's the painting. We're looking for an actual photograph, not CGI.
Painting, as you call it, is only the.
None of them are paintings, man. Yeah.
Wow. Really?
72 was one taken on 35mm film.
They're dodging the point. The point is, show us one picture of at least half the flat Earth. Go.
They're not going
We
to
have one
do that.
picture of half of the globe, Chris. A real picture of half of the globe.
You claim that it's CGI, but you can't show us a picture of half the flat Earth. Go.
Can't show the globe either.
Yeah, we do.
Whether it's painted or CGI or any other claim you guys have, show me a single picture of half the flat Earth.
Well, you've seen the Gleason's map, yeah?
Yeah, he projected that up from the globe. He believed the Earth was a globe. He says that right in the patent.
Said you want to draw in, doesn't have to be real. There you are, Gleason's map.
No, but he projected that from the globe because he believed the Earth was a
So
globe.
we both have problems. What are we going to do about the problems we both have?
It doesn't have
Seek
problems.
professional mental health
From you,
treatment.
Curved. So, Curved, help us provide a picture, real picture of where we live.
Who is the judge in the $1 Million Challenge?
This Turkish guy. I'll load his channel.
You can take him
Wait,
to court.
the guy who has his own million at stake is the judge in this challenge?
Oh, I'm assuming it's not like it's 5 sentences in his description, and I posted.
Who determines whether the criteria has been met or not?
Contact him and ask him.
Oh, $1 million for the Globers. Come on, poor Globers. Who needs cash?
These guys don't want it, that $1 million.
$1
I've got a
million
picture
to
for you.
prove the globe.
They deleted the
Come
message
on.
in here before.
Leo,
Yes.
look in the chat.
Think what you could do with $1 million. You could buy a movie studio, your own film company. You could make your own movie for $1 million. Pay the actors, pay for the set. Who else needs Moyek? Think about what you could do with $1 million, Moyek. You could prove there's pressure or not. Do some fancy experiments.
I need to know what the stipulations are. If it's I have to personally take the photograph, I'm probably not going to be able to do it.
Who else? Chris, look at you. Look at your situation. Look, we'll think about what you could do with $1 million, Chris. Right?
I gotta get it, Kimo.
You could get all the back surgery, the shoulder surgery that you need.
I gotta get it, Kimo.
You've got to prove that you want a ball.
Who determines whether that's been done or not?
What do you mean? The $1 million, the payout. Who's going to pay it out?
And that sounds right to you.
Of
the guy
course.
who's going to pay it out is going to agree. Yep. Okay. Well, you've satisfied my challenge. Here's your $1 million.
Oh, here he is. Look.
You're dumber than anybody ever thought you were, Kimo.
Oh, is this for the flat Earth? He wants a picture of the flat Earth or the globe.
You know what's interesting, Spurs? It's only 2,000 views. There's $1 million up
No,
for
what's the
grabs.
deal with this? Does he want proof of a
Yeah,
flat
I'm
Earth
trying
or
to tell you,
globe?
Kimo.
Flat
He
Earth.
says simply, and then simple
Oh,
words.
right.
Yeah, in simple words, he says he wants to see a video record showing the whole Earth spinning in a frame. That's all he says.
Oh,
why can't he just spend that $1 million and
he's
he
not
travel
flat
to
Earth.
space
Hold on,
in
nice
like
guy.
a commercial
Kosher.
plane or something?
Kosher.
Why
Like,
can't he
this is the
take that
question.
$1 million and put out a hit on Nice Guy?
Kosher, is he looking for evidence
I mean,
of a
I
globe?
would love it.
Is he looking for evidence of a globe then, not flat Earth?
Looking for evidence of a flat Earth, I mean, of a globe, because he's a flat Earther.
He's a flat Earther, so he wants to see the ball spinning.
And he's asking somebody to find a record video showing the Earth spinning in a frame. I don't know why it says in a frame, but yeah.
Oh,
They could
okay.
just
Interesting.
$1 million. Come on, guys.
Possible to show the Earth rotating in one frame.
Do you think the fact that he has a $1 million incentive to cheat in this challenge, do you think that that should make a difference as to whether anybody enters the challenge? Or
No, he won't cheat.
Why don't you just go for the $1 million? Just go for the $1 million.
Do you think we should just accept?
Yep.
That
Go do the challenge.
That
yeah.
Don't be stupid.
How's he going
I
to
mean,
cheat,
are you
though, Jeff?
idiotic?
What do you mean, cheat?
I mean,
Look,
we show you guys the exact proof.
Submit
He's put up $1 million.
Earth rotating and see what he says. That's
However,
we do that all the time. You guys deny it. If you guys deny it, then he'll deny it because he's got an incentive.
Yeah, he's got $1
I have nothing
million
to do with that.
incentive to say no, that's not good enough, hasn't he?
Take him to court then and see what the.
Oh yeah, that's what I should do. I should go out. I should take this photograph, and then I should start a legal procedure to get my $1 million. For what? What do I get out of this?
$1 million.
Get $1 million or whatever you paid in court.
You'll pay for court $40 to file a claim.
How about this? How about this for a good idea? How about the flattard deposits his $1 million, which we all know he doesn't fucking have, with a lawyer, and he lays down a set of rules and criteria that have to be fulfilled in order for his challenge to be met, and the lawyer decides who gets the $1 million. How about that for a crazy idea?
I will say he does show his money. He shows the wads
Why
of
do you
cash
get
and the
so
gold in the
triggered?
video.
Oh, so come on.
Because when people do this, there is no $1 million, and there is never any intention for this thing to come to fruition. The only point of this is so that this twat can run around saying, "I put $1 million challenge out a year ago, and no one has responded to it. I'm right." That's what it's for. It's just another flat Earth tactic.
No one's ever gonna. He's never gonna pay that. But like I said in the video, he does show that he has the the money and the
Wow.
gold. But
It
he's
just
never gonna
sounds
pay
like you
anybody.
guys are making excuses. You got $1 million on the table and you're making excuses.
I mean, I
Yeah.
would assume. Hold on a minute.
If he's in some doubt about the shape of the Earth, he needs to do the work. It's not our job to deliver stuff to him.
It's $1 million.
Yeah, Merlin.
He isn't
Merlin,
paying $1 million, is he? He's pretending he's going to.
Just put it in escrow. We will all do it if he puts it in escrow. But until
Now
he
we're
does that,
talking. Now we're talking, V.
Yeah, put it in an escrow. Yeah.
I've already satisfied it. I posted that GIF that I made like a year ago, or whatever. It satisfies his exact request.
just put the money in escrow, and I guarantee you, people will take him up on it.
You think that?
Contact them. Tell him that.
You think that GIF is worth $1 million, Kosher?
For him, this is what he asked for.
Question about this challenge.
I think most people given $1 million incentive would cheat.
But especially on something like this, where the solution is obvious and easy, and he's just in denial about it. You guys deny it for no money, so obviously he's going to deny it for $1 million.
So why do we deny it then?
Gotta be
Because
real.
you guys have a cognitive bias. You're unable to accept the truth.
You enjoy believing that the Earth is flat.
May I ask a quick question?
You enjoy believing it's a globe in your little safe bubble world.
I don't know if it's a safe little bubble world. I feel like whenever you have a dome, a protectionist view of the world, I think you're the one who want to live in a safe little bubble world. Not us, my dude. The world is vast. It's scary. It's very scary, our world, man.
An
It's
asteroid
the reality.
any day now.
It wouldn't matter if I didn't like living here on a globe. It would still be a globe.
Can I ask a question to someone who knows a lot about film? If you can answer me this. If I'm shooting at the standard rate up for TV, which is 29.79 in America, and I think 30 frames a second. 9.7. Sorry, I said that wrong. And I think it's 30 frames in Europe. How many? How far would the rotation of the Earth be at one frame?
A frame is only a single shot, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So with 30 frames a second, in 1 second, how much will the Earth rotate?
You need to take 30 frames.
So we shoot at 30 frames a second per TV.
Yeah. Chris wants that money. Come on, Chris. Come on.
Chris, if you determine,
Get it, Chris.
Go on, Chris.
Chris, if you determine how fast the Earth rotates in a given minute, it moves at like 4. What is it? I'm sorry, 1 degree every 4 minutes across the Earth, right?
Sure.
So 1 degree every 4 minutes is 69 miles in a 4-minute span. So you just have to divide that by 4, then by 60, then by 30.
Don't let him put you off, Chris. Don't let him put you off, Chris. Think what you could do for your church. That money. Let's go.
Put it in escrow. Get him to put it in escrow, Kimo, and it's a deal.
Don't worry, Chris is on the way to getting paid. He's figuring out how he can figure out how much Earth should be shown.
My whole point in this logical deduction here is in one frame, it would be impossible to show the Earth's rotation, complete rotation in one frame, because it takes more than one frame at 30
Just get him to clarify it. Maybe he's
Dude, you're so fucking dumb, man.
No. Chris is on the way. Chris is thinking, guys. Thinking.
I think he's talking about the framing of the picture rather than
Obviously. Not. He wants a rotation, like 24 hours, or let's see it go around one time.
Right, that's exactly what I posted.
Clouds moving. Let's see the clouds moving and make sure they match.
Plenty of photos of
on the
that.
ground.
Plenty of photos of the clouds moving. You just pretend there aren't, because you believe some flat earther when they told you that they didn't move in those photos, and you never bothered to check. You just believe.
We just check it ourselves.
Do you want me to show you how those clouds move? I can show you the images. I've taken them.
Then you need to submit them to the guy. What aren't you hearing?
Well, I got the question.
The guy is not arguing about clouds moving. You are.
No,
what are you not getting?
Want to see a rotation of Earth.
Yes, and you raised clouds moving.
That's what he's going to want to see.
I pointed out that we have, we can show that the clouds move in these images very easily. It's been done. It's just another part of the meme that you've believed without checking. You should check.
How does Epic not meet the criteria to whoever the hell is defending
Yeah, I
this
wonder
guy?
that.
Yeah, this GIF right here that I posted is not because I got this GIF. I made this GIF from using Epic's data.
Right, but how does Epic? Let's assume we get all the video from Epic. How does that not meet the requirement? Flat Earthers.
That's what this is.
It does. It meets it. So submit it, please.
He would say it's not video, I guess.
My concern here is that, like I was saying, like if you take a still photograph, you're not going to get the Earth's rotation. So my whole thing about 30 frames a second and figuring out how much of you would see the Earth's rotation is valid, because you'd have to shoot it with a camera, and you'd have to shoot it, for TV. So that's 30 frames a second. Or
Yeah.
He's not talking
Go
about
on,
frame
Leo.
rate, Chris. Jesus.
You guys are trying to put him down.
In photography, Chris, sometimes they talk about framing an image, right? It's like how you compose what's in your shot.
You see the whole thing.
And I think that is the frame that he's talking about, not frames of video.
How can you get one single frame of an Earth's rotation when it?
If you retarded,
Don't back down, not hearing the words I'm saying, are you? Can you understand there are two meanings to the word frame? One is frames of video. One is composing a photograph, deciding what is in your shot.
The edges of the scene.
If I take a photograph of the Earth, you're not going to see rotation because it's a still image.
Okay, but you also frame video in the same way. You compose what's in your video the same way. We use the same term in video and in photography.
You guys have a possible retarded glober that's not
No,
getting what
come
you're
on,
saying.
don't be putting Chris down like that. He's got his thoughts. Go on, Chris. Don't let them put you down. Teach.
It's not me teaching, it's Jem teaching me. I'm trying to understand, Jem. Please don't get mad at me.
You're good, man.
I've got to go anyway.
Yeah, ask the questions how you learn stuff, man. It's cool.
I'm trying to understand what he means by frame.
Ever heard the term frame a shot?
I have, but I guess
that's the context that's used.
Picture frame. I mean, picture frame.
Put like their fingers up and make a rectangle with their fingers with two hands, and they're like looking like they have a camera in their hand, and they're trying to picture the frame. They're trying to get an idea of what the frame of the image is going to look like. This just basically means if you point a camera at something, everything that's within the vision of that video camera at that point is going to be in a single frame. Okay, even though it's not framed in the way in which you were just describing it. You know what I mean? It's like just the picture the picture is going to be looking at. The rectangle is going to be looking at. I mean,
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding.
No fucking shit.
Chris, like I say, don't let them put you down. All right.
Just think of a picture frame, man. Think of a picture frame.
I understand what you're saying, Coach. I'm just having a harder time understanding. If I have the Earth in that frame, in that square, and I snap a shot, the shot is still.
Yeah, I know, but we're not talking about one snapshot. We're talking about having it in that frame and then starting the record button, like with a GoPro or something, or a different kind of video camera. You have it in that frame, and then you press record, and then you watch it rotate, and then you press stop.
So you ain't gonna stop Leo from getting this money. They're all jealous, Chris.
Why are you interrupting me?
Go on.
So what you're saying is having the square box, but the representation of the 30 frames a second is not necessarily separate from that, but it's showing in the 30 frames per second that the Earth is rotating within that frame.
It's best not to think about the 30 frames per second because it's not even. It's just best not to think about that. Okay. And I don't think the frame rate matters. Like, for instance, the GIF that I have should suffice what he asked for, even though it's a very, 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 very low frame rate because it's like 12 images a day. That's what 12 frames a day. I mean. So just don't think of it with that word frame. Think of it as a picture frame. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, the frame is everything in the image. It's all framed.
That's what I was trying to say. You're framing like he wants the whole Earth in the frame in the video spinning. That's what he means by in a frame, not trying to spin the Earth in one photograph.
I can't believe we spent like half an hour talking about fucking frame, dude. Fucking stupid.
$1 million on the line.
It's not really on the line. You all know this, man.
Look, they're all jealous of Leo trying to figure it all out and stuff. They know that he's onto something.
Don't think that's what's going on here, Kimo.
But why are you stopping him from figuring out where he can stand from and look at the Earth rotation?
No one's stopping him from figuring that out either, Kimo.
He wants to prove that the Earth is moving and spinning. Now he's trying to ask you for help, and all he hears is, no, Leo, you're wrong. No, Leo, you get it out of your
That's not what he heard. Me, Rizla, a couple other people, we tried to explain to him what was meant by frame. I don't know where you're living.
It's just like in the Truman Show, Spurs, when they pull the map down and say it's all been discovered and thought of.
Right. Help him. Help Leo figure out.
With that.
Help him out.
He just was confused about the context in which a single word was.
Look, Leo's trying to figure out how he can prove the Earth is moving from a frame.
I am not. Why are you putting words in my mouth?
See, now you've turned him. He doesn't want the money now. See what happens with peer pressure.
To you, prick.
Peer pressure.
Stop putting words in his mouth, Kimo. Come on, Kimo. Don't be a dishonest prick.
He never once even mentioned it.
Proven given evidence by many different things like hurricanes and tsunamis and tornadoes and.
So Chris, are you saying you can prove the Earth is spinning?
I can give you evidence that the Earth is spinning.
Will it win us $1 million?
I can put a video together of a hurricane if you want.
Yeah, but will it win us? Will it win us the cash?
That's not going to suffice. That's not what he wants.
Yeah, Kimo, it's a minute video that I guess you haven't watched yet, but he says very clearly what he's asking for.
Well, I'm saying to Leo, how can we figure this out? I'm with him on this. Let's try and get that cash. Flat Earthers can also make that money, right? We can work together with ballers. We can show the Earth is spinning, flying, whatever it is, and get that money.
I've already showed you. Like anybody, a 4-year-old could do it.
I think we have to do it ourselves.
I'm going to sell your beliefs for money, Kimo.
I don't think he would accept from NASA. I think we have to do it ourselves. So we have to go somewhere.
You're selling out, Kimo.
For what?
$1 million.
Well, there's a chance to win $1 million for Chris.
So you're going to sell out?
I'm not selling anything.
Money over truth?
This is for Chris. Yeah, he's going to be rich for the church. Donations.
The church?
Uh-huh.
What is this?
What church?
Donations, Chris.
Which church?
Look, just a church where people.
What's the name of this church? Where is it? Who runs it?
The point is, Chris, that's what the money's going to be.
Show it in a video right now, Kimo. This church.
I like the church too.
I want to see this in a single frame.
A video, 24-hour feed in a vacuum.
No, what we're looking for is to help Chris.
Show this church, Kimo. Come on.
You're not listening. We're helping Chris to get this money. See, Chris?
I don't get what my church has to do with.
Well, if you get $1 million, are you saying you wouldn't donate most of it, if not all of it, to the church?
No, he's going to say it's Chris's money.
So I would not do that.
No, you wouldn't co-show, but I'm talking to Chris. Would you donate the $1 million, Chris, to the church? Make sure everything is in order.
The Latter Day Saints.
Did you?
The richest churches, man.
Did you put the money in escrow yet, Kimo? It needs to be in escrow first.
10%. That's all. We're done talking about the subject, okay?
Well, before it goes in escrow, Veach, we need to make sure that we can actually achieve this task.
No, it can go in escrow.
No, it has to be in escrow first. Otherwise, no one does anything.
I want to be on Proving Blog too, please. I would like part of that $1 million.
Right, we're all in. That's what we're saying. Everyone has churches they want to donate to.
Yeah, I want to donate it to my church.
There you go.
I would start my own church. But then
I'm going to donate to the Church of Kimo.
Leo, I'd like to correct you. That 10% is tithe only. It's not donation. When you come into
taxes.
yeah, that's tithe. That's not donation.
I'm sorry, but taxes counts it as donations, and that's what context I use the word donation in. Okay.
Yeah, you said 10% though. 10% is just your first tenth. You should give to the one who blessed you with all that you have. You should give 10% back automatically.
Why are we talking about taxes and $1 million that
Does he
no
know
one's
he's
going
not
to
a
get?
Christian?
Why does God need money?
Not God needs the money, but we
God
donate.
doesn't need money.
We give to the poor and the needy, and
They
those.
don't give the money to the poor.
Those
They
who
fucking hoard it for themselves. Especially Lael's church.
Nah, you watch too much mainstream.
Chris said he didn't want to talk.
There are lots of people out there who are worse off than you, who need, like shelter and food and warmth.
Chris doesn't have to talk about it, but we can if we want.
And if you donate to the church, the guys that go out there, the crusaders, I forgot, they will go out and the missionaries, they will go out there and help the needy, especially in this time of lockdown, right?
I
just want
Chris is going to do that thing.
make it clear, Kimo. If Kosho won the bet, he would donate to the Church of Scientism.
Well, no, I would make my own church. But do you guys remember? Do you remember the test that Curved came up with one time? Then we talked about those cameras in Hollywood that you can put like on a ship and they stabilize or something like that. Scott was talking about them because the pictures from the Epic satellite should suffice. But if he said you had to do it yourself, I think that test that Curve was talking about, maybe it would be a.
Yeah, I don't think. Look, NASA's already out there. I mean, why would he put the books up if he accepted NASA, right? So it's got to be something 2021, 2022, whatever it is. By the time you do it, it's got to be fresh. It's got to be clear. It's got to be, something that he can be satisfied.
Every video of this in 2021 is fresh.
You can verify the Epic. Like I forget what Australian guy it was, but there's an Australian guy. He took like images from the clouds. From his plane, I think, and then also from the satellite, and just matched them up, and saw that they were indeed taking like the exact same pictures, the exact same place, with the same clouds and sky and everything. So you can verify that those pictures are real.
Yeah.
And
it'd be harder to
the ground on Doppler radar.
Yeah, but he wants rotation.
And then they bring that up and they start stitching them together from the ground radar.
He said rotation, didn't he? He wants to see the Earth move. He wants to see the Earth moving,
right?
Sorry.
Couldn't you guys suspend a balloon way up there with a GoPro on it for like 24 hours, and then you can actually just see the Earth rotate underneath the balloon?
Easy idea, yeah.
How would you put a balloon up there and see the Earth rotate under the balloon? First of all, that doesn't happen. You can't just put a balloon up there and watch the Earth rotate beneath the balloon. That's not something that happens.
Well, why don't you put a satellite then, just outside the Kármán line? Just let it hover there or something, and then watch the Earth rotate.
It doesn't hover there. They have to be orbiting.
Well, we do that, by the way. We do. We have geosynchronous satellites. We have the Epic.
Whoa, confused now, Veach. Whoa.
Confusion.
Confusion. Veach says it can be done. Ko says it can't be done. Which is it?
Because I was speaking clearly with what I said.
Been done.
Look, you're both talking at the same time. Which is it? You can do it or you can't do it.
Kimo, stop. Scott.
What's happening, Kimo? Stop talking.
You're both saying the same opposite things at the same time.
Kimo, we're not. Stop talking, Kimo.
Okay.
Kimo said, what the hell did he say? He said,
You see? I'll tell you what I said. I said, put a satellite just outside the Kármán line, just above. V said, yeah, we can. Kosha said, no, you can't.
Yeah, I can't remember the word he used. He said levitate up there.
No, I didn't say levitate. Don't say that. I never said levitate. I said, put a balloon outside the Kármán line and let the Earth move underneath. You said, no, you can't. And V said, yes, you can.
You can't do that. That doesn't work, Kimo. You can't do it that way.
What you can't do?
It's a little.
You can put something in geosynchronous orbit, or in the Epic position, and watch the Earth rotate.
Yeah, so the satellite is still beach, yes?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You see, yes, no. Confusion alert. Confusion alert. You see?
Yes.
This is why we go crazy.
Hey, Kimo, stop over talking.
Oh, stop over talking. Now we've got three confusing me.
Kimo, shut up for a second.
Stays in a small Lagrange area, sort of rotating in a little tiny circle right there. and it can see the Earth, and it stays focused on the Earth, and you can see the rotation happening.
Right, hold on, Veach. You've got
What?
no. Hold on, Leslie. Hold on. So, Veach, you've got two people that said no against you, and you're the only one who said yes.
That's not true.
It
That's not true.
depends on your
There's
reference
just a
frame.
misunderstanding of what we were discussing. So
You
different
see,
people were
again, you're telling the ballers they misunderstand.
No, it
No, I'm
depends on
telling
your
you
reference
that
frame,
it was
Kimo.
different people referring to different things.
Right.
Just
Veach,
like
let's try
Michael
again.
Collins, just like Michael Collins and Buzz Aldrin, right? And
Yeah, Kimo, the word-
Neil Armstrong.
Why don't you ask
Confusion
if anyone
alert.
disagrees with what I said about the discovery?
Right, let's try again. Satellites above the Kármán line, in space, obviously, essentially, looking down at the Earth still, so the Earth is rotating under that satellite.
The word you used before was hover, not levitate. But yeah, that's what I was disagreeing with.
What are you on about? So you got the satellite in one place. No one said the satellite, no, levitate. So you got the satellite in one place, and then the Earth is turning underneath.
What is it still with respect to?
Two said no. Veach said yes.
Hover. Balloons don't hover. Helicopters hover.
I didn't say any of that. Hover, or I just said in one place. So the satellite is in one place.
Kosho said it.
Yeah. I just said it's in one place, and the Earth is moving underneath it. Now Veach said yes, and Kosho and Andy, two ballers, said no. So what do we do?
It depends what you mean by not moving, because that, to
Like,
me,
still.
everyth's moving. It
Well,
doesn't- like,
Veach
you can't
just
have
said
something not
no.
moving.
Veach just
But
disagrees.
you could have something that is stationary with respect to two objects if you ignore a bunch of other fucking things. But there's still
Confusion
fucking
alert! Confusion alert! Look, it either stays in one place and we see the Earth moving underneath.
But Kimo, if you had heard what I said that it moves a little bit. It moves around in a little tiny circle right in this one area. So it's
Yeah, that's
moving,
fine.
but it
That's
doesn't
fine.
move- But it doesn't move very far. It stays focused on the Earth, and you can see the rotation.
Yeah,
If
that's
we
what we're
get
talking
something
about.
Lagrange point, it won't move.
They
with
said no,
respect to
Veach. They disagree with you.
Chemo.
No, that's not true. No one disagrees with it. Find me someone who disagrees.
Double speak alert! Confusion alert! Look,
I don't
Why you?
disagree.
Sorry, Crit. Go on, because I am confused at this minute. Go on.
No, I fat fingered my push to talk button. I didn't have anything to add.
Fingered it, huh?
I'm telling you, no one disagrees, Kimo. You're just confused again.
Confusion alert. So, can we have a satellite that just is in one place and sees the Earth spinning underneath? We had two no's and one yes.
That as well from a distance. Do you want another satellite just filming that as well?
More confusion. A third option. Now, what is it? Fourth
What do you mean
option.
by
I told you.
Chemo?
The
You
satellite
told me, Veach. One is saying yes, one is saying no. They're going, I told you, yes, no.
No one's saying no. No one's saying no. Find me someone saying no that there's not a satellite at the Green
Right.
Point. Field.
Kosho said no and Andy said no.
He didn't say no to that. He said no to hovering.
I didn't say hovering. I didn't use the word hovering. I said in one place.
Well, you take that up with him, but I heard hovering too.
I didn't say hovering. Whoever said hovering, that wasn't me.
Well, you know what?
Kosho got
You're
the
gonna have to take
soundbite
that
of
up
you
with other
saying it.
people. It's hardly important.
Okay, so
The
look.
point is that there is a satellite at Lagrange 4. It's basically stationary relative to Earth, basically, and you can see rotation.
So
Okay,
you're
what?
saying there's a geostationary satellite at what
It's not
altitude?
geostationary.
please?
That's not geostationary. That's not what geostationary means.
Spurs.
Yes, Mo.
It doesn't matter, but you did say hover.
Oh, I might have said it. It doesn't matter. But the point is, it's just in one place, and
You might have now. A fucking flat Earth has confirmed you did. You
Well, that's not either
prick.
there here nor there. The point is, can we have one satellite in one place?
No, it is. It is here and there.
No, it's not either there. or
It shows
there.
how much integrity you have.
But
and
it's
who
not
you accept
important.
your
The most
fucking
important thing
information
is, can we see the Earth turning from a satellite in one place?
What a dick.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I'm with Spurs. I'm with Spurs. We were looking for clarity and there's confusion.
Of course you're with Spurs.
And
You
let me just
deluded
clear up a
as that
second. So,
spot.
Veach, when you said it's going around in one circle, in one place.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
not hovering. What if it's not hovering? What is it doing?
It's moving around in a little circle.
Yeah, but how is it hovering? Was it flying? What is it doing?
And how little is the
Effectively-
circle?
Does it have
How
rockets?
little is the circle, Scott?
Effectively,
It's like,
it's
I don't know,
a-
maybe like a.
orbiting
I
the
don't know exactly, but it's not big. It's pretty small. It's like I don't know,
orbiting the sun effectively, but it's a complex orbit.
This is so
It's
confusing.
orbiting the sun.
It's orbiting.
Wow, this is word salad
It's
at
a
its best.
complicated orbit where a lot of orbits cancel out, and the result is it follows an orbit of the sun.
If it's orbiting the sun, that's not a little orbit. That's millions of miles.
These things are called gravity neutral zones, okay? And they're points in between a bunch of different bodies in which gravity's sort of pulling equally in all directions, roughly. And so that's what keeps it sort of in a similar spot the whole time. Now, while it's doing that, other things are moving around it. So it depends on, it's all relative. So you can either say it's orbiting the sun or the sun's orbiting it, or, but it's in a gravity neutral spot relative to the Earth, the sun, and I think so it stays in this one spot, and it can stay fixed on the Earth, and it always gets a picture of the Earth from basically the same angle.
And this is because of a gravity neutral spot?
That's right. A Lagrange point is what they're called.
What altitude would that
It's
be?
about 1 million miles away.
Oh.
1 million miles away.
1 million miles away from Earth, yes.
There's a satellite there, you're saying?
Between what
yes,
two points are you talking about?
There's several satellites there.
Between what 2 points are you talking about? You said it has to be between 2 points is gravitational.
It's the sun, the Earth, and I think maybe one other body, but I don't know what it is.
Well, clearly the moon.
Got it.
Can I just have a little flat Earth huddle here?
Sure.
We have them.
I know.
I don't know what else to we had them a long time ago. They just didn't realize it.
Yeah. Now they
You guys
realize
know
it.
what the range points are right now, and then
Now we can't get a picture because they realize you can't just sit a satellite there and do nothing.
dude, I've posted for you already the video or to the 12 pictures taken from the exact position that he's talking about right now. There's already a thing sitting up there.
I also posted a wiki article about how Lagrange points work and why they work.
Wikipedia is not going to help you right now.
Bro, that was cute, but it's not. It's no.
I don't know what you mean by
way.
that. It's a perfectly valid explanation of how Lagrange works.
This is the most nervous I've ever heard you the whole time I've been on Flat Earth.
You say that every time. It's just rhetoric on your part. I'm telling you, this is how it works. It's not a big deal. I mean, I thought you guys already knew about this stuff. We told you this before.
How nervous are you right now? On a nervous scale. On a nervous scale from 1 to 10, how nervous are you right now?
It's a 1, bro. But why would I be?
All right, this is gonna be delicious.
One is fairly high.
Why do you think it's gonna be delicious? I don't understand. You guys
Because
literally don't. You literally don't understand anything, and you think you get wins because you've never heard of something.
2 no's and a yes.
Wow. The lynch.
I want to go to this place where gravity doesn't exist.
Go on, bro. Tell me why. Tell me how to debunk Lagrange points. I'm all ears. Tell me what.
We didn't say gravity doesn't exist.
Please
Go ahead,
disclose how to debunk his
Dismantle it, bro.
imagination.
Dismantle it, Merle. I'm all ears.
So you mean there's a place that space-time does not warp the fabric thereof?
No, that's not what I said. I said there's a place that's neutral and that the two gravities pulling between the two bodies is roughly equal to each other. So it keeps
it's
it basically in a fixed point.
anti-gravity?
It's not anti-gravity. It's two gravity forces that are basically equal at a spot. They're called Lagrange points. There are 5 of them in our solar system. It's not. I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised you guys have never heard of this before, but you guys evidently haven't.
Oh, we've heard of
Not that
them.
complicated.
We've heard of them.
Oh, how have you?
Yeah.
We heard of them. We just laugh at them. That's all.
Okay, well, why do you laugh though? What's wrong with them?
Because you've got animated GIFs to prove them.
No, but what's wrong with them? What's wrong with the
Time to
concept?
dig the
What's
hole
broken about it?
deeper.
I mean, do you have anything actual substance to say about it?
Do you have anything besides an animated GIF?
Sure. But
Where?
there's a whole text description.
What have you
can read
have?
that, you can read the-
What have you
you
got
can read the
besides an
equation.
animated
You
GIF
can
and a
read-
Wikipedia link?
A functional device.
I'm telling you the
Right.
answer right now. You can get equations that'll tell you how it works.
Oh,
you can
man.
read descriptions of it.
Okay.
You can
Oh,
set it up
watch
in
out.
simulation.
Merle is going to whip out
You
them
can do all kinds of
equations.
different ways to
Watch
Can we
out.
record? I hope
But
someone's
do you have
recording
anything of
this.
substance to say, Merle? So far, you've just asked questions, but I was waiting for.
Do
the
you?
dismantle.
Do you have anything of substance? Where are your real life
I
substances?
just told you equations. There's text and there's simulations. You can look at any of them.
You're
So,
fucked.
what's wrong with the
You don't
Lagrange
even
point? What do you
realize
not
how
believe
fucked
about?
you are right now.
I'm waiting. Show me.
You are in language. You haven't even got science. You're in pure language and rhetoric.
Tell
That's
me
all
what's wrong
you've
with
got,
Lagrange.
mate.
Okay, go ahead, Merle. Dismantle.
Where's the substances?
I just told you, but go ahead and dismantle it. I'm all ears.
So is a Lagrange point at all similar to a point on the Earth that you can pinpoint?
No.
It's not.
No.
What is it then?
I just told you it's a gravity-neutral point, a spot between two orbiting bodies where the gravity forces are roughly equal that keeps something in a fixed spot.
Position.
Even ask that question demonstrates your complete lack of understanding.
Position wouldn't be defined by like you said, like a position on Earth. It's defined by the relationship between the two bodies. So it's a position that is
Mass
defined.
attracts- it's mass
defined
attracts
as
mass.
the distance between the two bodies.
It's mass attracts mass.
Merle's entire position is, oh, I can't see it. It's not real. Haha.
I've never heard of it, so I must be able to dismantle it. But he has nothing to say.
Okay, so now Scott Veach is projecting that I haven't heard of a
I'm just waiting
Lagrange
for you
point.
to say something about how they don't work. Go ahead.
No one said you have never heard of it, Merle. They're saying that you don't understand it and are rejecting it because you can't see it.
Well, M. Scott Veach, like if we want to hold this and you accountable, are you willing to realize that you will bring heliocentrism undone with an animated GIF?
No, I'm not willing to realize that. That's absurd.
So what you don't realize right now. What you don't realize right now is you are going to be held accountable for your words and your baseless claims. There's 5 people in the room right now. Ad hominem attack. There's the first one. So there's 5 people in a room right now that will never forget this. You will never live this down.
You know what, Merle? Please don't. But I'm telling you, it's established science. I'm sorry you haven't heard of them.
You won't live this down, mate.
Well, this is getting weird.
And it's not. I'm over the target so much right now. You don't even realize it because it's your claim. It's your claim.
Yes, but what's wrong with them? Where's your argument against them?
What do you mean? What's wrong with them?
All you said so far is that they don't work or ha ha ha, but you haven't actually made an argument. You've never said anything about them.
So what's right with them?
Max incredulity, that's it. He's just gone 100% incredulity.
I know, you don't even really know what they are, do you?
What's right with them?
They're spots between two bodies where the gravity forces neutralize each other. And that means it's not being pulled in one direction or the other. So it sort of gets fixed in a spot. Now that's how they work.
So what does that have to do with satellites filming if the Earth's spinning or not?
Because that means that if you put a Lagrange point between the sun and the Earth, you can put a satellite there, point at the Earth, and it'll always be pointing at the Earth at the same angle.
I'm wondering if you could do the same thing for the moon. I guess you could. You'd have an object that would be orbiting the Earth, but it would be in a position to where it was also, like you said,
following the moon
point of the moon. So it would be following the moon's orbit, but it wouldn't be dictated by the moon's spin. So it could,
that's right.
It could witness the moon spinning.
And again, there's probably 5 solutions for the Earth-Moon system as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there might be.
Sounds great.
I don't understand how this is like.
I never knew.
Concept
I never
flatly reject.
I never knew that. I never knew that Lagrange point was going to be the thing that would bring him undone. I've been waiting for this moment for so long.
You have nothing.
What?
I've been waiting for this moment like for years, man.
Any of the other things you don't accept.
I mean, literally, Merle, you're just being silly. It's like you don't know about that.
I'm sitting here almost like with my feet up. I'm feet up on my desk. I'm watching you squirm like a worm. It's amazing.
Oh my God, you're so dumb. It's so painful sometimes. Merle,
second ad hominem attack.
Just make your argument, dude. If you have an argument, make it. If you don't, then maybe just be quiet.
You're making it for me.
I'm not though. I'm actually telling you.
I don't even have to say anything. That's the best thing.
Well, you don't ever say anything, bro. Like, you literally have never once made an argument about
Third ad hominem attack.
Well,
It's
he's
ad
not
hominem.
wrong
You
though,
don't make
Merle.
arguments. That's just a true fact. And you do this a lot.
Fourth
You
ad
actually-
hominem.
you act as if- you act as if
Distraction.
you have a secret-
Deflection.
Can I just finish a sentence? You act as if you have some secret reason why something doesn't work, but you never actually articulate it because you don't actually have a reason. And you just sort of like act mysterious and then pretend that you're going to somehow be able to leverage this. But you never
When
do.
did you?
never,
When did you go up and test the Lagrange point yourself?
Oh, I have not been to a Lagrange point.
So how do you know
That's
it's
your big
even there?
argument? That's your big argument that I haven't been to one? Woo! I thought it was going to be something a little bit more, I don't know, impactful.
Who's got the
Yeah.
math so I can send something there then? I would like the formula so I can send something to that spot.
Sure. How good's your math, though?
Just post it in here and I'll copy it over and do it on my own.
This is literally
but how
all
do
you
you-
guys have is we can't go there, we can't see it, so it's not real. Like you have no
Somebody's
logical
going there,
reason
right?
why it's impossible. You have
Somebody's
nothing.
going there, right?
What?
It's 4 times further than the
Somebody's
moon.
going there, right? There's satellites there, right? Just
Yeah.
post the math for it.
Yeah, it's like you ask the
Post the
dumbest
math
questions,
for it.
like, "Oh, can I send something there?
Yeah,
Can I do that?" No, you can't
Why?
fucking do that. You
Why
don't have
not?
the resources to do it. That doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means you can't do it.
Only I can't do it, but other people can.
Most people cannot do it because most people like you don't have the resources for it. Like your argument that because you can't do it and it's not a common thing that most people can do, therefore it's not real.
So how do I
Okay,
get
Lewis
that-
isn't
that people
Lewis isn't saying anything either. Sorry, Radwin. Can SE Montreal be unmuted?
Here,
SE Montreal, like, okay, he's left.
Hey, Louis, what I think you're missing here is not saying it's not real, it's
Louis.
verifiable.
No, the position is
Can SE Montreal please be unmuted?
They're basically saying because we can't verify it, we're just going to say it's not real.
Why is
No, not
SE Montreal
verifiable.
being muted?
Bro,
It
the
has
same
to be
reason why.
verifiable.
Well, can he be unmuted, please?
Yeah,
He wasn't
it's
even
verifiable.
interrupted.
Yeah, Louis or Lewis or how do you say your name?
Lewis.
Lewis. Okay.
Can SE Montreal please be unmuted?
Why is he muted, by the way?
Same reason why it's annoying to what Merle's doing is because people are talking and he talks over them. So he got.
Can
muted.
you unmute him, please?
Yeah.
Please?
The idea is about the Russell's teapot. Have you ever heard about that like logical or experiment, like thought experiment?
Yes.
So the same one too. There's a. I did this once with a guy. I have a dragon in my garage,
That's
and
not
he's like,
yours. That's Sagan's.
Well, there's no good reason to think that you might have a dragon. So
but if you could verify it, right? That you'd be wow, there actually is a dragon in Chris' garage.
yeah, but dragons are not things that are accepted to exist. They're not.
What
There's
could
no
the-
logical reason that they would exist. They don't.
The guy who did this was MG42. He's the one who did the dragon in his garage.
Pillbox. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't fit
total
into
fucking
the
wanker.
into reality at all. So it's
not.
not even remote.
No, but I'm saying if I told you there's a dragon in my garage, right? What would you say? Like I say, you can verify it for yourself.
Well, then I'd come and see that there wasn't a dragon in your garage.
I'd say he's shy. He doesn't want to meet you.
It doesn't matter if he's a dragon.
You see what I'm getting at here? Like, oh, go ahead.
And I just
Sorry,
want to
never
point
mind.
out it's
Different
Carl Sagan's
conversation.
argument, not fucking MG40 fucking two.
No, he popularized it here in the Discord ship about because he has a water dragon.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He took it straight out of fucking Sagan, and he picked it up in the Great Debate community about 7 years ago when Thunderfoot was starting to use it.
What was MG42's version? He actually has a pet called a water dragon.
That's in the original version too.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Well, well, Scott, can I be
It's all right,
fair?
though.
And can I be fair and ask why you invoked the 3-body problem?
I didn't invoke it.
Oh, you definitely did.
Said
No, I did
Earth,
not.
Sun, and some other body.
No, the three body problem is about predicting orbits, but this is different. And by the way, the three body problem can be solved numerically. When people say you can't solve it, they mean there's no